Chapter 865, Death God. The master was delighted when he saw Lin Feng. He started releasing some deadly energies. It seems like you fancy your master. Well, you will be together forever, buried 6 feet under, said Master Jia while smiling. He then started condensing gloomy qi in his fist to attack her. Stop, shouted Lin Feng furiously. His voice was so loud that it made Master Jia's eardrums shake. At the same time, Lin Feng used his Xiaoyao agility technique to run towards Yi Shui. Where are you going? Many people appeared in front of Lin Feng and released terrifying energies. But at that moment, a sword qi dashed to the skies and cut through those people. Their bodies then fell from the sky. Boom! A terrifying punch crashed onto Yi Shui's body and gloomy qi penetrated her body. Yi Shui obviously couldn't stand it. The qi flowed into her veins, her vital organs were hurt and her vitality was being drained away. She was still looking at Lin Feng and smiling. Initially, she was a slave and she had never enjoyed the beauty of life. Later on, Lin Feng saved her from the auction market and people finally started respecting her. Unfortunately, she would never be on Lin Feng's side again and she would never be able to take care of him ever again. While her smile was still on her face, her body slowly fell down. She had turned into a limp body and didn't know what was happening anymore. Lin Feng grabbed Yi Shui and condensed pure qi around her body to protect her. At the same time, he took out a pill and shoved it into her mouth. He then tapped on her body to stimulate her body and hasten the pill's effect. His silhouette flickered as he put Yi Shui on the back of the snow eagle. Then he turned around and looked at the 2 silhouettes on the gate. Lin Feng, finally, you came to die, said the people from Laiyun and Tianfeng. My son, said Yu Menghe and Lin Hai while looking at Lin Feng. They looked proud of their son. You didn't need to come. Dad, Mom, those who tortured you are all going to die, said Lin Feng looking furious. He then jumped forwards and released a monumental amount of deadly energies. The crowd felt oppressed as people from both countries were astonished as well. How could Lin Feng's energies be so powerful? Slash! An invisible sword appeared and pierced through someone's forehead, instantly killing them. The others were astonished and they looked terrified. Slash! 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 Terrifying swords were appearing and whistling. All those who were in front of Lin Feng were being stabbed in the forehead. They didn't even have time to see those swords. The crowd who was outside of the imperial city felt oppressed by those energies. Lin Feng had become so strong. Lin Feng could easily kill those people in the blink of an eye and nobody could stop him. Unfortunately, there were cultivators of the Tian Qi layer who had come from the 2 countries. Lin Feng was a genius but against them, his talent was useless. Oh no! People who were behind saw how strong Lin Feng was, so they grabbed his parents and put a blade on their throat. Initially, they wanted to save that if Lin Feng turned into a demon, they wouldn't have thought that they would need to do so early. Lin Feng, stop, shouted those 2 people furiously. Lin Feng stopped killing those in front of him and looked at those 2 coldly. However, he didn't continue attacking. Lin Feng knew one of them. It was the imperial tutor from Tianfeng who had to gone to Miqing City. I didn't think that you would get stronger again. You came here to die and I will help you achieve your goal, said the imperial tutor, glancing at the corpses. He was surprised at how Lin Feng had killed more than a dozen cultivators of the 8th Xian Qi layer. Those people were core disciples of the country of Tianfeng, but Lin Feng had easily slaughtered them. I didn't kill you back then but now your people from Tianfeng will regret it, you will pay the price for your actions, said Lin Feng coldly. His interlocutor just laughed, ridiculous, you can barely protect yourself and you're threatening us? Wait until the cultivators of the Tian Qi layer from Tianfeng arrive and you'll see. Is that so? Said Lin Feng coldly. He then took a few more steps forward and got closer to the man. Stop, shouted someone. One more step and your parents will die. Master Jia was surprised by Lin Feng's strength. He was much stronger than what he had believed him to be. Who are you? Said Lin Feng while glancing at him. Tian Sha sect, the gloomy master, said the young man. Lin Feng was a bit surprised. Tian Sha sect is also participating. Seems like the situation is complex. Lin Feng, you finished first at the great competition of Shuiyu. As expected, you are an extraordinary cultivator, but today you will die, said the master while releasing ice-cold gloomy qi. I hate that kind of qi the most, so you will have to die first, said Lin Feng while running towards him using the Xiaoyao agility technique. He arrived in front of the gloomy master who wanted to escape, but it was too late. Lin Feng immediately grabbed him by the throat. Do you want your parents to die? Said the gloomy master when he saw that Lin Feng wanted to kill him. His heart was pounding. What a cold energy. If I kill you, will they actually kill my parents? Said Lin Feng. Those two were relying on Lin Feng's parents to protect themselves. I am a master of the Tian Sha sect, try if you dare, said the gloomy master when he sensed that Lin Feng's murderous intentions were quickly escalating. He was scared, he actually feared for his life. The Tian Sha sect is nothing before me. I killed people from East Sea Dragon Palace, so if you want me to try, I will. I will not only kill you, everybody who came to Shuiyu will die, said Lin Feng menacingly. He then raised the young master in the air and released an infinite amount of sword qi towards the young master. Don't. If you kill me, you will all die here too, said the gloomy master. However, Lin Feng couldn't control himself anymore and his qi continued on. No, shouted the gloomy master. He was terrified, petrified. However, he wouldn't be able to think any more after that because the sword qi had already surrounded him and had started to pierce his skin. His entire body was being shredded, piece by piece. Besides, the two who had taken Lin Feng's parents as hostages were shaking from head to foot, they looked desperate. Lin Feng said he would kill him and he did. Lin Feng was insane, like a death god, he didn't care about the consequences of killing other people. The whole crowd was shaking in the distance, their hearts were pounding and they couldn't take their eyes off of what was happening. Looking at Lin Feng made them feel excited and full of vitality, their blood was almost boiling. Lin Feng had turned into a death god that nobody could stop. Those people had invaded Shuiyu and had humiliated his parents, he had to get his revenge and kill them. Chapter 866, Killing People of the Tian Qi layer as well. The imperial tutor from the country of Tian Feng and another strong cultivator from the country of Lai Yun were both stunned and shaking. They were staring at Lin Feng, looking scared. Their blades were firmly pressed against Lin Hai and Yu Menghe's throats. If Lin Feng moved any further, they would kill them. They couldn't give Lin Feng any chances here. Lin Feng took a few more steps forward which forced the imperial tutor to shout furiously, "Stop, if you make another step, don't blame me for being merciless." His sword forced a bead of blood to appear on Lin Hai's throat. Lin Feng's facial expression looked even colder. "If you hurt my father again, I will slaughter you even if my parents have to die with you." That sentence resonated in the imperial tutor's brain, forcing him to take back his sword a little. He didn't dare hurt Lin Hai anymore. Lin Feng was becoming even more frightening, almost like a monster. Back then, he had chased Lin Feng to kill him and he was strong already. He had always known that letting Lin Feng off would be a mistake and regretted not killing him back then. Now things were different now, Lin Feng had become monstrously powerful and was a threat. He didn't want to piss off Lin Feng further, otherwise the same thing that happened to Master Jia Jia would happen to him as well. The strong cultivators of the Tian Qi layer from Tian Feng are about to arrive. Even if you're extremely strong, you will not be able to rival their strength, thought the imperial tutor. My son, leave now, shouted Lin Hai to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's strength was a surprising already, but Lin Feng couldn't fight against cultivators of the Tian Qi layer, he had no chance. If Lin Hai hadn't had his cultivation crippled, he would have sensed Lin Feng's qi and noticed that he possessed the strength of the Tian Qi layer. Unfortunately, he was too weak now. Dad, I've said it already, I will kill everyone, said Lin Feng. Then, in the distance, a terrifying qi appeared. There were several coffins surrounded by gloomy qi and heading towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng was laughing coldly in his thoughts. A terrifying fire appeared in his hand and flew towards the coffins. Explosion sounds could be heard as the coffins started to burn arduously. Boom boom boom, explosion sounds continued to go off. All the bodies started burning and the fire was burning their innards. Gloomy qi was flowing powerfully, but it was useless against that fire. After breaking through to the Tian qi layer, Lin Feng's fire started containing pure sun qi. It was a lot more complicated to extinguish it. Those cultivators burnt and gave horrible shrieks until their last breath. What a terrifying fire, thought the crowd while watching the fire in the sky. It kept burning and those cultivators at the top of the Xian qi layer couldn't even stop it. More people were arriving from the distance. Lin Feng groaned coldly as his sword qi dashed to the skies and rolled in waves in the air. Bodies kept falling from the sky as cultivators of the Xian qi layer couldn't rival Lin Feng. At that moment, a vast and terrifying qi invaded the atmosphere. The imperial tutor and the other cultivator looked delighted. Finally, the cultivators of the Tian qi layer had arrived. Lin Feng was doomed. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe turned deathly pale as they sensed those energies. They were convinced that Lin Feng was going to die. The qi was rolling in waves towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng gazed into the distance and saw two silhouettes in front of him. Behind Lin Feng was a wall, the wall next to the gate where his parents were hanging. Lin Feng, you finally arrived, said one of the cultivators of the Tian qi layer to Lin Feng. In Xueyu and on the way to the great competition of Xueyu, you killed many of my fellow cultivators. I would have never thought that you would be brave enough to show yourself here. Lin Feng, hundreds of thousands of my troops died in your hands, now I will kill you and your entire family, said the other Tian-level cultivator who was from the country of Lai Yun. Killing them was the right thing to do, said Lin Feng coldly. You really want to die, shouted the strong cultivator from the country of Tian Feng. He then punched the air in front of him. His punch contained some terrifying strength borrowed from the earth and sky. Lin Feng tried to block it but it didn't work. He was immediately propelled backwards and crashed against the wall, breaking some pieces of it. My son. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were furious, however the imperial tutor was grinning in a disgusting way. Lin Feng, let me look at you while you're dying. The crowd in the distance was sighing. Lin Feng couldn't escape. He was doomed. He couldn't rival against the cultivators of the Tian qi layer. Now, you're regretting, right? Said the strong Tian-level cultivator from Tian Feng. He then condensed more strength. Die, shouted Lin Feng furiously while releasing a terrifying energy. Dull and stupid, said the Tian-level cultivator while releasing another punch which headed in Lin Feng's direction. An explosion sound resonated and dust rose up in the air. Lin Feng had disappeared in the cloud of dust. My son, Yu Menghe and Lin Hai were desperate. The imperial tutor and the other one were feeling more relaxed. Lin Feng was injured, how could he continue fighting? However, at that moment, a golden light illuminated the atmosphere and two metallic sounds spread in the air. The swords which were pressing against Yu Menghe and Lin Hai's throats broke and at the same time, blood appeared on the foreheads of the two cultivators who took them as hostages. The imperial tutor seemed to sense something. He wanted to move away but in a flash of light a sharp sword had already pierced him. Oh no! The imperial tutor's back was covered with cold sweat. He then saw a silhouette emerge out of the dust. It was Lin Feng and he was using his agility technique. He appeared in front of Lin Hai and Yu Menghe. He grabbed them both and rose up in the air. He then put them on the back of the snow eagle. The crowd didn't realize what was going on. Lin Feng hadn't been injured at all. Lin Feng, you did everything to save Lin Hai and Yu Menghe, said the imperial tutor looking upset. Mom, Dad, wait for me here. Then, Lin Feng jumped again. He had been patient to save his parents and hadn't revealed his strength of the Tian qi layer. My son, shouted Lin Hai. Don't worry, he'll be fine, said a voice at that moment. Lin Hai couldn't see who just talked. He then looked at the snow eagle which he was riding. The beast was a Tian-level beast. For our master, killing 2 pieces of trash at the Tian-Chi lair should take only a second only, said the Snow Eagle. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were astonished. That Tian-level beast was calling their son, master. At the same time as Lin Hai was figuring that out, Lin Feng released a terrifying qi which kept exploding. How? What was going on? Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian-Chi lair. Lin Feng had been hiding his real strength. The imperial tutor was astonished. Lin Feng had endured the Tian-level cultivator's attack only to hide his strength and save his parents. Should I regret? Do I want to die? Mocked Lin Feng as he released his full strength. He looked at the Tian-level cultivator from Tian Feng and said, "Your 2 countries will regret." He then jumped forwards and released an incredible amount of energy. The earth and sky were shaking as he punched air in front of him. Boom boom boom, a terrifying explosion sounded as the Tian-level cultivator from Tian Feng became terrified. He also released energies to block Lin Feng's attack. Boom! Lin Feng's punch crushed his soul and he died in the blink of an eye. While the body was falling down from the sky, the crowd was stunned. Lin Feng had killed a Tian-level cultivator in 1 punch. Lin Feng looked at the other Tian-level cultivator from Liyun who started shaking. How? Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian-Chi lair and was this strong? I must go and inform the cultivators of the Tian Sha sect, thought the cultivator. He turned around to leave, but a golden light appeared between Lin Feng's eyebrows which turned into a bronze bell that crashed into the back of the opponent's head. Buzzing sounds spread in the air and the crowd's souls were shaking. Then, the bell went back into Lin Feng's body. Meanwhile, the other Tian-level cultivator's body fell down from the sky. He was dead. The 2 cultivators of the Tian-Chi lair had died in seconds. One had been killed by Lin Feng's punch, the other by his awareness. Now the imperial tutor was quaking in fear. He had never thought that Lin Feng would progress so quickly. I want to die. I will tell you something, I will slaughter the Emperor of Tian Feng after I kill you, said Lin Feng. He released sword energy and attacked the imperial tutor, without any possibility to escape or counter, he died as well. Lin Feng had annihilated all those people, one after the other, he even killed some of them without moving. Chapter 867, Murder. Lin Feng, King of Xueyu. Citizens of Xueyu were astonished. Lin Feng had just killed 2 cultivators of the Tian-Chi lair. Not only had Lin Feng broken through to the Tian-Chi lair but he was also much stronger than Duan Renhuang. With only 2 attacks, he had been able to slaughter 2 cultivators of the Tian-Chi lair. That golden bell was something that they had never seen before. In the end, the crowd didn't understand how Lin Feng had killed the Tian-level cultivator from Liyun but, both Tian-level cultivators from Tian Feng and Liyun had died. They could only guess that Lin Feng may have just crushed his opponent's soul. At that moment, Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were astonished as well. Tian-Chi lair. After turning into a demon and leaving Xueyu, Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian-Chi lair. Now he came back as a king and could crush other cultivators of the Tian-Chi lair so very easily. They were incredibly proud. Lin Feng had told them, he said that he would them, even if they were Tian-level cultivators. Mom, Dad, the eagle will protect you. Just stay on his back and don't worry, said Lin Feng to his parents who nodded. Without spending time talking to them, he rushed over to the former imperial palace of Xueyu. He wanted to see who had organized all of this. How many people were still there? They all had to die. The snow eagle flapped its wings and followed Lin Feng inside the palace. Lin Feng was glancing around. For him, cultivators at the same level were nobodies, like tiny insects. He was flying around the palace like a madman searching. The crowd outside of the palace followed him as well. They wanted to keep watching him. Many people rose into the air to follow him more closely. Nobody wanted to miss Lin Feng's revenge. They wanted to see if anybody was able to contend against their king. That massive group of people looked like a tidal wave gushing into the former imperial city. Many strong cultivators inside the palace seemed to be aware that Lin Feng had come back. Very quickly, some people appeared on Lin Feng's way. Lin Feng released some terrifying sword energy. Those who had just came close to Lin Feng could sense his qi and wanted to escape, but they couldn't move fast enough. Lin Feng released golden lights and killed them. It was raining bodies. The ancient city turned into an ocean of blood. After that, many people decided not to watch from the sky anymore. They were too terrified of Lin Feng. Finally, Lin Feng moved towards the center of the palace. Many of the people from Tianfeng and Laiyun had settled there. There was even an army. They knew that Lin Feng had turned into a demon, so the two countries brought back up. They wanted to conquer the former capital city of Shuaiyu and then conquer the entire country. Unfortunately, they had had no choice but to change their plan after the Tian Sha sect came to Shuaiyu. They had to take Lin Feng's parents as hostages and wait for him to come. But they both came to kill Lin Feng. In the main palace, many people sensed the terrifying qi and raised their heads. There was a handsome young man whose energies were terrifying. It seemed like nobody could stop him. Lin Feng glanced at them coldly and released some energies. He shook his hand and the crowd couldn't see anything but golden lights which streaked across the sky and murdered Lin Feng's enemies. Die, said Lin Feng coldly. Blood splashed everywhere. The walls of the palace were covered everywhere with blood. Not only had those people invaded Shuaiyu, but they had also captured his parents. They had almost killed them. Lin Feng had to get his revenge. He had to kill them. Otherwise, what would they do if he wasn't in Shuaiyu? You animal! Jia jia, said gloomy voices coming from coffins. Then, two coffins then started flying. Those two pieces of trash were unsurprisingly unable to stop you, said a voice coming from one of the coffins. Then, a terrifying gloomy qi surrounded Lin Feng. In a flash, the gloomy qi crashed onto Lin Feng's body. However, he had already ignited a fire and the gloomy qi disappeared whenever it touched that fire. At the same time, Lin Feng jumped forwards and released a terrifyingly oppressive punch which contained an inextinguishable fire. Boom! The fire made short work of the coffin. Ah! The cultivator inside gave a horrible shriek which echoed far off in the distance. The Tian-level cultivator inside the coffin wanted to come out and attack. But at that moment, Lin Feng's hand crashed into the coffin. That punch possessed the power of the demon seal stone, so the entire coffin was sealed. The person inside couldn't escape. The fire was becoming more intense. The coffin was already surrounded by flames to the extent that it wasn't visible anymore. Inside, the cultivator was crying with pain. The crowd was astonished, especially the cultivators of the Tian Sha sect who came later. At that moment, Lin Feng didn't look like the other Tian-level cultivators of the same level. He had surpassed them. The other cultivator came out of his coffin when he saw that Lin Feng had imprisoned his fellow inside his coffin. He didn't want to stay inside the coffin anymore. Instead, he immediately attacked. Die! That released a monstrous amount of gloomy qi. You filthy bastard! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. A black lotus appeared in his hand that contained some corrosive energy. Boom! The terrifying gloomy qi was destroyed by Lin Feng's attack. Lin Feng used the Xiaoyao agility technique and immediately punched his opponent, not giving him any chance to escape. The black lotus then made contact with his opponent, who then exploded and disappeared. Chapter 868, Tian Qi Layer. Lin Feng's qi was still hanging around in the atmosphere after killing the Tian-level cultivator. He then released some sword qi and attacked people from both Laiyun and Tianfeng. Nobody was able to stop Lin Feng. All they could do was wait and die. Nobody thought that the situation would turn out this way. Lin Feng didn't fear any of them and nobody could challenge him. Each time he attacked, blood spilled. He could kill Tian-level cultivators in one punch. The worst part is that they used his parents to attract him, but that seemingly pissed him off more. Finally, Lin Feng made his way to the original palace of the former imperial city. A myriad of black chains containing terrifying gloomy qi appeared and attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled as he released his awareness to block the chains. A few buildings were destroyed by his sword qi as more coffins appeared. The black chains were precisely coming from those coffins. A bunch of undead pieces of trash, said Lin Feng coldly. Kacha, boom boom boom, the coffins moved in every direction and their chains continued to target Lin Feng. Very quickly, the coffins stopped and the chains were about to trap Lin Feng, but he didn't look like he was scared. At that moment, Lin Feng turned into a majestic mountain standing aloof. Lin Feng became enchained when two coffins decided to attack him head-on. Lin Feng then moved and the chains moved along with him. It seemed like his body contained an extraordinary strength. It wasn't long before the two coffins arrived in front of Lin Feng. He punched the two coffins and an explosion sounded. The bronze coffins broke into pieces. At the same time, the corpses they contained vanished as well without even having the time to shout. Boom boom boom. The other coffins moved away and landed on a building. From there, they were observing Lin Feng with terrified expressions. Lin Feng's physical strength was terrific. Some silhouettes descended from the sky and Lin Feng ended up surrounded by many people, of which many of them also had chains. In front of Lin Feng, there was a huge palace filled with a large group of people. They were in fusion with the earth-sand sky, especially the one at the very front. He was wearing an ordinary gray robe, he had at least broken through to the third Tian Qi layer, and his qi contained intent. What a big army, thought Lin Feng. There were a dozen of them who had all broken through to the Tian Qi layer. Lai Yun and Tian Feng are such small countries, having two cultivators of the Tian Qi layer is already something exceptional, those Tian level cultivators can't be from those two countries, thought Lin Feng. Those Tian Qi layer cultivators had participated to the Great War back then and it seemed like they had all been waiting for him to come back. The leader of the group smiled coldly and said, Lin Feng, you are extremely strong and your natural abilities are breathtaking. But no matter how talented you are, your cultivation level is limited. You can't contend against us. Now, if you decide to join us, listen to my orders and only to my orders, maybe I will let you live. Perhaps I won't harm your family members or friends either. You want me to accept defeat without fighting back, said Lin Feng mockingly before adding, tell me, to which group of influence do you belong to? The East Sea Dragon Palace or the Jade Heaven Empire? I am asking you something, you should accept. If you refuse, accepting later will be too late and will be left with regrets, said the cultivator wearing the gray robe. Lin Feng then replied, too late for regrets. How ridiculous. Because of me, you wasted time and energy. You've surprisingly been waiting for me all this time and captured my parents as hostages. You knew that sooner or later, I would leave Tianqi and would come back home for a while, therefore, I know that you've been waiting here for a long while. His interlocutor understood him, he even seemed to know a lot about Lin Feng. They had brought so many cultivators of the Tianqi layer to ensure that they would win. Even if you know all those things, so what? I will repeat myself one more time. If you listen to my orders, maybe I will let you live. At least, I will let all your friends and family members off, said his interlocutor calmly. He seemed to think he had already won. Lin Feng was strong but had just broken through to the first Tianqi layer. He could kill cultivators of the same level but no matter what, he couldn't kill a dozen cultivators of the Tianqi layer. Amongst them, there were cultivators of the second Tianqi layer, and a cultivator of the third Tianqi layer. Lin Feng couldn't resist. Is that so? There are so many of you, you all should at least show me what you can do, said Lin Feng. A storm appeared and a terrifying hurricane started blowing. Some white silhouettes appeared with incredible speed and exuded powerful bestial qi. Boom boom boom, the silhouettes landed on the ground and surrounded those Tian-level cultivators. Tian-level beasts. Those cultivators were astonished and puzzled. Where did those beasts come from? Surprisingly, there were some people up in the clouds. They couldn't even sense the chi of the beasts, which meant that those beasts were stronger than them. Is that enough? Said Lin Feng while looking at the cultivator of the third Tian Chi layer. That person was too stunned to reply. The crowd in the palace was astonished as well. How could Lin Feng have so many strong allies? If that's not enough, I can call more people, said Lin Feng indifferently. He then raised his hand and his snow tower appeared. Immediately, some gigantic beasts appeared. Ruahar. Arg. Boom boom boom. Those beasts were roaring furiously and punching their chests. The atmosphere was filled with a terrifying bestial chi. Those new beasts were also Tian-level beasts, and they were all surrounding the enemies. They were scared to death. If they had foreseen this outcome, they would have let Lin Feng off. But now it was too late. Lin Feng was ready, able to kill them. If that group of ferocious wild beasts attacked, they would all get slaughtered. Chapter 869, Behind the Scenes. Now, do you still want me to listen to your orders? Said Lin Feng mockingly. How could it be? Where were all those beasts from? How had Lin Feng obtained so many wild beasts? Their plan was ruined. In fact, the complete opposite was happening. They had guessed right about luring Lin Feng to them in the beginning, but not about the outcome. Lin Feng had come with the intention of saving his parents, but in the end, he had also brought a dozen terrifyingly strong beasts with him. They had all at least broken through to the third Tian Chi layer and above. The weakest beast there was able to kill the strongest cultivator of the group. How was this a fight? Now, we should talk. Where are you from? Asked Lin Feng while releasing some more terrifying chi. Nobody replied. Even if they talked, Lin Feng would probably order his beasts to kill them. Lin Feng waited for a moment and saw that they were speechless. He smiled and said, "You can remain silent, but I will show you what it's like to be really scared." He needed to know who made his parents suffer so much. He had to get his revenge. Slaughter him, said Lin Feng while pointing at someone with his left hand. In a flash, a beast roared and the ground shook. The great rock flapped its wings and attacked the enemy with its sharp claws. That person sensed the bestial chi and he was terrified. He wanted to escape, but the rock was extremely fast. It was only a moment before the claws of the rock pierced through the enemy's skin. The rock lifted him up in the air and threw him away. Slash slash, a snake spat some poison at him and the violent bear smashed his chest. Blood kept spilling. That cultivator of the Tian Chi layer was a plaything to these beasts. The others were shaking, their souls were even shaking. It was so easy for those beasts to torture a cultivator of the Tian Chi layer. It had been so hard to break through to the Tian Chi layer, but they looked so weak when compared to those beasts. If they didn't listen to Lin Feng, they would all end up in the same boat. Who sent you? Said Lin Feng again. As before, nobody talked. It seems like this is not enough. Lin Feng's evil voice was terrifying. Was he insane? They watched as Lin Feng pointed at another person. Wait, said that person suddenly. I will tell you, but will you let me live? You can decide to talk or not. I can decide to let you live or not, replied Lin Feng. There are many people back in the palace, I need to know now, otherwise those people might learn that I told you, said the person. If he didn't tell Lin Feng, he would get killed, but if he told him, someone might learn about it and would kill him anyways. It seems like you're not ready to talk, said Lin Feng while slowly raising his hand. It's Shengong, shouted that person suddenly. He then looked at the man in the gray robe and said, "You're a bunch of bastards. If you hadn't joined, we could have killed some people and left already. It's Shengong's fault. They sent us." Shengong. Lin Feng wasn't prepared for that answer. He hadn't heard about them for so long. Now he was feeling a bit better. He had completely forgotten about them actually. There had been some tensions between Lin Feng and Shengong. Shengong was a powerful group of influence in Shuaiyu, and they could, if they wished, invade the entire region and control some of the other influential groups. It looks like they had given orders to Tianfeng and Laiyun this time. They had even used a powerful group from Tianfeng, the Tiansha sect. Shengong, repeated Lin Feng. He thought that it was either the East Sea Dragon Palace or Jade Heaven, but surprisingly, it was Shengong. But Lin Feng had never really done anything to Shengong. He thought about going to the mysterious world in the name of Shengong, but he never thought of joining them to practice cultivation. However, when Lin Feng had turned into a demon, Shengong didn't help him, so Lin Feng had given up on them. But was that a catastrophe? Lin Feng had never thought that Shengong would resort to such means to capture him. It was as if they hated him more than the Jade Heaven Empire and the East Sea Dragon Palace. They had captured his parents, crippled their cultivation and hung them onto a wall to lure him in. "So you're from Shengong," said Lin Feng to the man wearing a grey robe. "Who ordered you to come? Does it matter?" "Lin Feng, you're a genius, and Shengong also thinks that you're a genius. If you had joined Shengong and became a disciple there, you would be even stronger. Unfortunately, you didn't seize the opportunity and chose to walk on a path which will lead to your own death. You betrayed Shengong. Now, when Shengong knows that I'm dead, they will send even stronger people to kill you and you'll be doomed. It's just bad luck." "I've never believed in luck, I control my own life," said Lin Feng coldly. He then raised his hands to signal their deaths. Roar! The violent bear stomped the ground, making it shake. It then jumped. Those cultivators of the Tianqi layer turned deathly pale. They were going to die. Nobody could escape. Those beasts were stronger than them and could easily kill them. They were going to die in Shuaiyu. The former imperial city of Shuaiyu was going to be covered with the blood of so many strong cultivators. Lin Feng looked expressionless. Shengong had resorted to such pathetic means, he was never going to forget that. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were on the back of the snow eagle and could see everything. They were so proud of their son. They thought that there were at most 5 to 6 strong cultivators, but it turned out that there were so many more. Even then they weren't enough. Tian-level beasts were calling their son master, and Lin Feng's own strength was terrifying. He could kill cultivators of the first Tianqi layer with a single punch. "Lin Feng, you're an adult now," thought Lin Hai, whose heart was filled with emotions. It was so painful, he had had to raise his son alone. Preferring to protect him and keep him away from cultivation, he had to bear the responsibility for so many things. He had done his best to protect his son, and now his son was protecting him. His son was a grown-up. Chapter 870, Honor and Glory. "Yes, he can't be a child forever," said Yu Menghe. She looked much younger all of a sudden. Her son had broken through to the Tianqi layer and had killed Tian-level cultivators. "Lin Hai, it's thanks to you," said Yu Menghe while smiling. Lin Hai had raised Lin Feng alone. She, as a mother, had done nothing. "Menghe, what are you talking about? Could I give birth to a child on my own?" said Lin Hai, making Yu Menghe laugh and blush. "Lin Hai, he mentioned Shengong a moment ago. Shengong is the influential group that started the great competition of Shuaiyu. I would have never thought that they would harbor evil intentions towards Lin Feng. Even if he is strong now, he won't be able to rival them just yet," said Yu Menghe. She looked worried again. "If he's not strong enough, we have to take our close ones away from Shuaiyu, very far away. That way, Lin Feng won't have to deal with them." "I don't think that Shengong would be able to find us that way. The world is big, so it's not easy to find somebody," said Lin Hai. "Why go far away? If you agree, we can all go back to the Tianqi," said one of the snow eagles. "The Tianqi Empire." Lin Hai's whispered, "I've heard about that empire, it's in the Ganyu region. They're very strong and their cultivators adhere to religion-like principles." Lin Hai looked at the snow eagle and asked him, "Master, did you meet our son in Tianqi?" "Don't call me master. Your son is my master, call me brother, that'll be enough, said the snow eagle before adding, indeed, we know each other from Tianqi and we are from Tianqi, Tianqi, you are Tian-level beasts from Tianqi, thought Lin Hai surprised. What did it all mean? What was Lin Feng's social status in the Tianqi Empire? In Tianqi, there are 7 snowy peaks and we listen to the orders given by one of them, Tianxian. After our master joined Tianqi, with his incredible talent and strength, he became the young master and offspring of Tianxian. He is the future real leader of Tianxian. Therefore, if you want, you can stay at Tianqi anytime, said the eagle as if it had guessed what Lin Hai was thinking. Lin Feng had become the young leader and offspring of one of the 7 snowy peaks of Tianqi. He was the future leader of the group. Were they dreaming? Tianqi was a powerful empire in the Ganyu region. Lin Feng had exceeded their expectations. He had become far stronger than what they would have ever thought. No wonder those strong Tian-level beasts were following Lin Feng and were calling him master. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe glanced at each other, their eyes were filled with pride. Lin Feng was so talented. They had never thought that Lin Feng would actually become so strong, and now the snow eagle was explaining to them that their son was going to become the leader of a snowy peak in Tianqi. Not only had he broken through to the Tianqi layer, but on top of that, he was surely going to become a Zun cultivator someday. For Xueyu, that would be incredible. A Zun cultivator could destroy an empire of lower quality easily. Zun cultivators could also create a blood spirit and transmit it from generation to generation. Yu Menghe had the blood of a Zun cultivator in her veins. But in Xueyu, Zun cultivators were legends and ancestors. And now her son was walking on a path which would maybe make him become a Zun cultivator. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe felt relieved all of a sudden. As a future genuine leader in Tianqi and as a current young master, it would be difficult for Shengong to threaten Lin Feng. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was also sought by 2 powerful groups of influence. If they had known about that, they would have handled the situation in Xueyu in a very different way. It had started to get dark in Xueyu. The sun was red like blood and it was shining upon the city covered with actual blood. It was the former imperial city, but it had been the center of an unceasing war for a long time now. Bzzz, bzzz, the snow eagles returned in front of Lin Feng who had just finished killing the remaining survivors. Brothers, you can separate now, one goes to Lai Yun, one goes to Tian Feng. We're going to destroy the imperial families from those countries. We also have to destroy the Wanxiang sect in Tian Feng. Lin Feng directed the snow eagles. He knew how strong the snow eagles were. One of them alone could easily destroy a sect. He had said it before, he would make Lai Yun and Tian Feng regret everything. They were going to pay the price for what they had done in Xueyu and to his parents. Roger, master, said the 2 snow eagles while rising up in the air. They then opened their wings and started flapping them into the distance. The 2 countries were quite far from Xueyu, but with their speed, the snow eagles didn't need much time to get there. Lin Feng made the ferocious beasts come back into the snow tower and then went back to his parents. He felt guilty and said, Dad, Mom, you are hurt because of me. Lin Feng, what are you talking about? You came back, that's what we should focus on, said Lin Hai while looking at his son. Lin Feng had become an adult, so much more mature. Lin Feng, come here, said Yu Menghe while opening her arms. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered and he immediately appeared next to his mother. Lin Feng, you went through lots of hardships, said Yu Menghe while caressing her son's face. She felt sad for her son. Lin Feng's face resembled that of someone who had gone through many hardships. He looked older than he really was. Many people of the same age as Lin Feng had never experienced so many hardships. Lin Feng had almost died so many times, he was already starting to have some wrinkles. Look at you, you've become so strong because of all your adventures, said Lin Hai while shaking his head. Even though he felt sad for Lin Feng and had compassion, as a father, he had to talk as a man. They hoped that Lin Feng would continue becoming stronger. Of course, the cultivation world was cruel, and in the world, Lin Feng was obviously still not strong enough, but he was strong enough to save them in Shuiyu. Dad, Mom, let's go back to Yangzhou City. Grandpa is waiting for us there, said Lin Feng while smiling. Alright, let's go back. My dad is probably worried sick, said Yu Menghe while nodding. Lin Feng raised his hand and the snow eagle flew back towards Yangzhou City. Lin Feng checked Yi Shui's injuries. She was severely injured, but he would be able to save her. Local people from the former imperial city watched as the beast flew back, feeling reassured. Lin Feng had come back. Blood may have been spilled, but what an honor and a glory it was for them to have Lin Feng. He was a source of light for them. He was their leader, their king. Countries like Lai Yun and Tian Feng wouldn't be able to continue threatening them, even if they joined hands. Shuiyu had become a powerful country. Chapter 871, The Ancient Cauldron. The Yunhai mountain range was extremely calm. The Yunhai mountain range was already a place to worship the ancestors of the Yunhai sect. The Yunhai sect looked the same as before, its valleys, its cliffs, everything looked the same. However, the guards of the Yunhai sect were not feeling well at that moment because it was extremely hot. It was way too hot. The Yunhai sect had turned into a boiling hot pot, but where did that heat come from? Was it turning into a volcano? The guards were suffering from the heat but remained to perform their duty. The forbidden area was especially hot and the mountain was entirely red. It seemed like there were flames coming from the ground. Down the precipice and under the cliff where the drums were, there was a secret cave. It contained a palace and used to be the secret place of the Yunhai sect. Only the protectors of the Yunhai sect knew that it existed. At that moment, the ancient palace was closed but its door was red. Lin Feng had been inside already and learnt the strength of the Haruka. Inside the ancient palace was a painting surrounded by flames. In that painting was a world of mountains, oceans, a desert, jungle and people that looked very distinct. Under the painting was a Haruka statue. Lin Feng had decided to attack the statue before and now the painting had changed. It had turned into flames which invaded the entire palace, and even the entire Yunhai mountain range. There were also strange and loud sounds emanating from the ancient palace. Lin Feng didn't know what was going on in the Yunhai mountain range, he didn't know what his careless acts had led to. At that moment, he was riding his Tian-level snow eagle back to Yangzhou City. Lin Feng was bringing Lin Hai and Yu Menghe back to Yangzhou City. Everybody knew that people from Tian Feng and Lai Yun had captured his parents, they just didn't know exactly why. When they saw how furious Lin Feng was and now that he was coming back to Yangzhou City with his beasts, people could easily guess what happened to those people from Lai Yun and Tian Feng. Lin Feng was the king of Shuiyu. After he turned into a demon he must have gotten stronger, he wasn't the talented young man from before, he had matured. He was now majestic and dignified. It only a few days before everyone in Shuiyu learned that Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian Qi layer. Lai Yun and Tian Feng would fall into chaos now, Lin Feng was too strong. Yu Qingshan felt relieved, but Yu Tianming was in Shandong. Duan Xianyi and Xiaoye were happy. The Qi Xia troops felt even more combative and regretted they hadn't gone with Lin Feng to kill his enemies. After Lin Feng made it back to Yangzhou City, he needed pills so he confined himself in a room. Yi Shui and his parents were all badly injured and he had to heal them. And Lin Feng hadn't forgotten about Yun Shi, she still needed divine water pills. Divine water pills were extraordinary. Worse, the divine water pills were Xian-level pills. After breaking through to the Tian Qi layer, they were even more efficient, they could bring the dead back to life. Its ingredients consisted of 9 sun herb, divine fungus and sanguine soul herb. They were very difficult to obtain. 9 sun herb contained sun qi and could revive people's life energy. Sanguine soul herb could purify people's blood, containing vitality. The divine fungus was used to hold pill together. With those 3 ingredients, it was possible to concoct divine water pills. Not only would they heal Yun Shi, but they could also be used to save Yi Shui's life and heal Yu Meng He and Lin Hai. Of course, Lin Feng needed to concoct 4 of those pills first. In a secret room, Lin Feng was sitting cross-legged with Mr. Hua and Mr. Qi beside him. They had also collected some ingredients for the pills. They had performed their own medical research in order to help Lin Feng concoct the divine water pills. They could still remember Lin Feng when they had met him back in the ancient water city. He was bullied by other clans and they decided to side with him. Now they realized how right they were. He had broken through to the Tian Qi layer already, which was their dream, but Lin Feng was so young. Lin Feng was in a special state of mind. In his head, there was a desert, the desert of his spirit. He was holding the dragon cauldron in his hand. It seemed like his spirit could see through it. Maybe by understanding the cauldron better would enable him to use it in a better way. Some marks appeared in the desert of his spirit, making his spirit glow in a strange way. Rays of light were twinkling and flashing. Then they turned into a gigantic cauldron which contained an ancient qi. Lin Feng was just realizing that inside the cauldron was another cosmos, another universe. There were strange patterns and marks that looked dazzling. Those were holy marks. The heavenly 9-dragon cauldron was an ancient cauldron. Unsurprisingly, it was a precious and extraordinary treasure. Chapter 872, Concocting Pills. Lin Feng could sense his ancient cauldron and its holy marks very clearly. With his acute perceptions, Lin Feng could distinguish a dragon shape in the holy marks. Lin Feng released his awareness onto the holy marks. It was as if pure qi was flowing through them. In a flash, the holy marks diffused incredible lights in Lin Feng's spirit. A dragon appeared and opened its mouth, spewing endless qi. Bzzzzzzz. An alarm began blaring in Lin Feng's head as if the dragon was attacking his awareness. His body started shaking violently, but luckily, his awareness was absorbing the shocks. Lin Feng struggled but managed to continue observing the holy marks. He was staring to understand them. But in a few seconds, Lin Feng was covered with cold sweat. His awareness was communicating with the holy marks and it seemed like it could attract the dragon's attacks. Although dragon was in the emptiness, it seemed very real. The heavenly 9-dragon cauldron, whispered Lin Feng. He seemed to be in another world, something strange to find in an ancient cauldron. As the dragon was spitting out energy, Lin Feng had an incredible sensation. That qi was rotating while the pills were being concocted. Indeed, the cauldron was initially a tool to concoct pills. Of course, the ancient dragon also had an incredible offensive power. Lin Feng, what's going on? Asked Mr. Qi and Mr. Hua, who hadn't started concocting pills yet. They were too concerned by Lin Feng's reaction. How strange. Mr. Qi, Mr. Hua, I'm fine. I was just about to start. If anything strange happens, please help me and thank you, said Lin Feng. The 2 old men nodded. Even if they didn't say anything, they knew what to do. They had seen Lin Feng concoct pills in the past and found that he was quite talented. With his incredible power of understanding and his powerful soul, Lin Feng had surpassed them in terms of pill concoction. They could only assist him now. Bzzzzzzz. A fire ignited and the entire room was invaded with fire, qi and heat. The fire was terrifying and burning all around the cauldron. Although powerful, the fire seemed to contain a level of calmness. They put the ingredients in the cauldron and dazzling lights appeared. The 9-sun herb, the divine fungus and the sanguine soul herb were such precious medicinal herbs and were terribly expensive, but in the cauldron, they looked like ordinary items. Lin Feng was simply throwing them into the cauldron to mix their qualities. Divine water pills were sun-type pills, holy healing pills, but their price was enormous. It was no surprise that they cost so much in the continent. Even if one was willing to spend money, it wasn't easy to find pills. Divine water pills weren't just healing pills, they could also help cultivators develop their natural abilities and make strengthen people's souls. They could enhance cultivators' flesh and organs. Things were getting hotter in the room. Lin Feng started making gestures with his hands and the cauldron began buzzing. At the same time, Lin Feng's godly awareness was everywhere in the room. Everything that was happening was appearing very clearly in his brain, including what was going on in the cauldron. This time, Lin Feng couldn't fail, he had to succeed. Mr. Qi and Mr. Huo were watching Lin Feng's moves and were surprised. The fire was so powerful, no to mention his methods. What really surprised the two old men was Lin Feng's control. While practicing mindful consciousness, he could control each and every step of the process. The two old men sighed. What a pity that Lin Feng hadn't become an alchemist, but they knew that it was impossible. Lin Feng had such natural abilities, how could he only focus on pills? Alchemy was only a means to help him on the path of cultivation. If Lin Feng hadn't gone through so many hardships though, maybe alchemy wouldn't have been possible for him. Cultivation was at the roots of the cultivation world, everybody wanted to be strong and powerful. Time passed slowly, after a very long time, a strange qi invaded the room. There were many sorts of qi mixing together, the qi of the herbs were starting to condense. Lin Feng frowned and focused even more. He couldn't be careless at that moment, otherwise, he might lose everything. The fragrance of the medicine was becoming more dense, the entire room was filled with it. Lin Feng could sense that some pills were starting to condense. Very soon, divine water pills would appear. However, after a while, the qi of the ingredients had fused already but the pills hadn't appeared. Lin Feng was wondering what was going on. Almost, thought the two old men. They could sense the energy and everything had to be very precise for the concoction to work. A dazzling light started to appear and it contained a terrifying qi. The strength of the earth and sky was drawn towards the pills which were absorbing it. This was the last step. It's risky. Lin Feng knew that it wasn't working, but with the fire and his technique, there was no reason for it not to work. Maybe he didn't have enough experience. He knew how to concoct the pills thanks to the recipe, but maybe he missed something. His godly awareness entered the cauldron and then the entire cauldron started shaking violently. It seemed like a dragon was waking. Lin Feng poured sun pure qi into the holy marks of the cauldron. The dragon started roaring and spitting out energy. Bzzz, 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 a terrifying roar emanated from the cauldron. Lin Feng's awareness shook and 1,000 rays of light appeared. Without hesitating, Lin Feng rose up in the air and broke through the ceiling of the room. A gigantic hole appeared there. Lin Feng used his Xiaoyao agility technique and streaked across the sky as he grabbed everything that flashed out of the cauldron. His hands were hot, it seemed like they were boiling. The blood qi was incredible, but besides blood qi, there was some sun qi. Lin Feng was overjoyed by his success. Divine water pills. Lin Feng opened his hands, he had taken great efforts to make those pills. Silhouettes flickered and neared him, attracted by the pills' thick energies. But when they saw Lin Feng, they stopped and they looked surprised. Lin Feng glanced at them and nodded, and then they all smiled in a resplendent way. Chapter 873, Complete Recovery. Lin Feng, those are Tian level pills. Hurry and give them to those who are hurt, otherwise the soul qi will diminish, said Mr. Hua. Lin Feng nodded at him and condensed some pure qi in his hands to envelope the 5 pills. The lights which were dashing to the skies became less dazzling and the medicinal fragrance also disappeared. I'm off, said Lin Feng, whose silhouette flickered. Lin Feng arrived in a courtyard. Yu Menghe and Lin Hai were in a cultivation room trying to see if they still had some pure qi left. Maybe they could cure themselves if they managed to make some pure qi flow. However, their internal organs had been destroyed and their qi was extremely weak, so they couldn't condense pure qi. Xin Yi and Xiaoye were watching them nervously, they looked desperate. Xin Yi, bring Yi Shui here, someone said suddenly. It was Lin Feng and he was coming down from the sky. Alright, said Xianyi while leaving the room. Lin Feng approached his parents and took out 2 pills while saying, "Mom, Dad, take these pills." Lin Hai and Yu Menghe glanced at each other. Could those pills help them recover? They didn't believe so, but they still took the pills. Suddenly, a strength started flowing in their bodies. The sensations were particularly intense for Yu Menghe. Her cultivation level wasn't as high as Lin Hai's. She was only a Xian level cultivator, so it made sense that the pills provided stronger effects for her. Her blood started boiling. It felt like she had died and was reborn. Her blood started flowing everywhere in her body again. Her face, which was looking deathly pale and was gradually becoming red again. Apart from her blood which started flowing again, her qi was also gradually condensing again. Her soul was also healing, it seemed. What an incredible pill, thought Yu Menghe surprised. She looked pleasantly surprised. She closed her eyes and started inhaling pure qi to heal herself. The pills had the same effects on Lin Hai. Even though his injuries were more severe than Yu Menghe's, his strength started flowing again. He started focusing so he could recover even faster. Lin Feng had brought incredible pills, those were holy healing pills. Besides, they could also heal vital organs and the blood system. They could also make a cultivator's soul stronger. When Lin Feng saw that his parents were slowly recovering, he made some pure qi flow and breathed with confidence. He was smiling in a resplendent way. Those pills were really fantastic. Xianyi came back carrying Yi Shui on her back. She had been attacked by the gloomy master and was almost dead. Lin Feng poured pure qi into Yi Shui's body to carry her and put a divine water pill in her mouth. Then he made that pure qi revolve to hasten the process. Yi Shui's cultivation level was extremely low. Tian level pills could have incredible effects on her. A bright light appeared around her body. She was recovering at an incredible speed. She was recovering faster than either of Lin Feng's parents. After a short time, she opened her eyes and saw Lin Feng. She was stunned but whispered, "Master. Am I dreaming? I know I died." "How could you be dreaming?" "Yi Shui, you're alive and fine. No need to talk too much though, save your energy and I'll help you recover," said Lin Feng while smiling slightly. In a very short time, Lin Feng helped Yi Shui recover. After a few days, she would be perfectly fine. Lin Feng then looked at his parents who were still making their energies flow in their body. He smiled then left. Lin Feng arrived in frigid room. In that secret room was a bed with a silhouette calmly lying there. The room was blanketed in ice because Yun Shi had been frozen by Meng Qing. She might have died but she looked so pure and innocent, her smile was still there. "Divine water pill. I hope that you can heal her," whispered Lin Feng. Yun Shi was such a pure and innocent girl. Those were supposed to be the best years of life but she wasn't able to enjoy them. Lin Feng put his hand on the ice and released some fire qi to melt it. Lin Feng's fire was very powerful, however, the ice was melting so slowly. Meng Qing's ice was incredibly powerful. No wonder it could halt Meng Qing's death. Finally, the ice melted and Lin Feng took Yun Shi in his arms and left the secret room. Lin Feng had to keep a hand on her body to push pure qi through her. He had to completely melt the ice inside of her. Finally, the qi dispersed completely. Then, Lin Feng made some sun pure qi flow in and put a divine water pill in her mouth. Very quickly, Lin Feng felt relieved. Yun Shi was as severely injured as Yi Shui. Finally, the young girl started breathing again thanks to the effects of the pills, her face became red even. But, she hadn't woken up yet. Lin Feng put her on a bed and looked at her pure and innocent face. He then left the room and closed the door. Yun Shi would heal and live on. She would probably wake up soon. Lin Feng sighed and kept one pill. Those divine water pills were holy healing pills, their effects were incredible. Lin Feng gazed in the direction of Black Wind Mountain. Those pills had healed those 4, what about Meng Qing? Meng Qing probably needed a much more powerful pill to turn back into a human being again. Chapter 874, Meeting Again. Sunlight penetrated the room where Yunxi was resting. She slightly shifted herself and slowly opened her eyes. She raised her head and was wondering if she was still alive. She just remembered seeing Lin Feng before dying and leaving the world. What happened after that? Maybe she was hallucinating. She even had the feeling that she had died a very long time ago. She slowly sat down and looked around her. It was a simple room, it looked like a hidden room. She had completely recovered already. It seemed like her qi was even stronger than before. What a strange feeling, was she dreaming? She stood up and took a step, her body felt extremely heavy. She tried walking faster, she wanted to go outside. Outside was a beautiful courtyard, there was a pavilion, a pond with lotus flowers and a silhouette raising their hands towards the sun. That person was motionless as if they had been thinking about something. Yunxi calmly looked at that person and was surprised. Was she hallucinating? It seemed like that person was in fusion with the world. Back then, even the elders of the Luo Xia sect didn't give her such a feeling. That person must be monstrously strong. That person slowly turned around, he looked handsome and was smiling at her. Yunxi's heart started beating faster. "You're awake," said Lin Feng in a gentle way. Lin Feng. She pronounced his name slowly. It seemed she hadn't died in the Luo Xia sect. "I'm still alive," thought Yunxi and then smiled in a resplendent way. She hadn't died. The Luo Xia sect hadn't killed Lin Feng. "Are you feeling comfortable?" asked Lin Feng. Yunxi nodded and said, "I'm sorry I didn't manage to convince the teachers of the Luo Xia sect." "How are they now? Did they hurt you?" Lin Feng's lips moved but then he smiled wryly. Yunxi had been sealed away in ice for a few years. How could she know what happened after? Maybe she thought that she was still in the ancient city. "Yunxi, you've been in a coma for a few years now. We're not in your city anymore. We're in my hometown, Yangzhou City. The Luo Xia sect was dismantled many years ago," said Lin Feng. He didn't want to tell her that the Luo Xia sect was destroyed. He didn't want Yunxi to feel bad about what had happened. That's why he just told her it had been dismantled. She had sacrificed herself for him after all. "I was in a coma for a few years." Yunxi was starting to make sense of it all. No wonder she felt that she was hallucinating. Lin Feng had changed so much. He was so much stronger than the elders of the Luo Xia sect or even than the strong cultivators of Shuiyu. Her sect had been dismantled. "Yes, Yunxi, let's go outside for a walk," said Lin Feng while grabbing Yunxi's hand. She shivered and lowered her head. She could remember Lin Feng's kiss all of a sudden and blushed. While walking in the palace, Yunxi realized that the pure qi was extremely thick and dense. There were also many soldiers walking around. Each time they saw Lin Feng, they would look at him in a respectful way and stop walking. Only after Lin Feng walked farther away would they start patrolling again. Yunxi was also surprised because people there all seemed to be very strong. Their qi was so strong that their strength was unfathomable to her. They were all so much stronger than her. What kind of place was that? On top of that, they all respected Lin Feng. What had happened? What was Lin Feng's social status? Lin Feng brought her to the place where his parents were. By now, Yi Shui had completely recovered. She glanced at Lin Feng and Yunxi. She would have never thought that Lin Feng would be able to save that girl. "Master," said Yi Shui. Everybody was looking at Lin Feng respectfully even though they didn't say anything. "Master? Is Lin Feng the disciple of some aristocratic clan? Is that why he went to her city to practice cultivation back then?" thought Yunxi. Yu Menghe and Lin Hai had slowly recovered. They opened their eyes, not only had they recovered but their cultivation had improved. They had become even stronger now. you all recovered. Nice, nice, said Yu Qing-shan when he saw that Yu Qing-shan and Lin Hai had recovered. He was smiling in a resplendent way. Brother. Bro, Lin Feng, a few silhouettes walked towards him while smiling in a magnificent way. Lin Feng looked back at them, his brain was full of memories. His friends. Han Man, Pejun, Jing Yun, Duan Feng. Lin Feng waved at all his friends. Han Man and Pejun were wearing bronze masks as before, but they looked so much stronger. As far as Duan Feng and Jing Yun were concerned, they didn't look as puerile as in the past. When they had heard that Lin Feng had become the king, they ran back as quickly as they could. They wanted to see him again. Lin Feng, brother, you're becoming so much stronger, said Han Man while tapping on Lin Feng's back. However, it seemed like he had just tapped iron, his hand felt sore even. I'm still unable to remove your slave marks, how can you say that I'm strong, said Lin Feng while shaking his head. Han Man and Pejun still had slave marks on their faces. Hee hee, we're used to it now, said Han Man while smiling in a free and unrestrained way. Lin Feng shook his head. He was definitely going to find a way to remove those marks and make them appear as normal people again. Jing Yun, you've become even more beautiful, said Lin Feng while smiling. She blushed in a shy way. Duan Feng, you've become stronger than Han Man, thought Lin Feng. Back then, Duan Feng was a talented young man with extraordinary abilities. He also possessed an incredible blood spirit. Duan Feng had already broken through to the 5th Xian Qi layer. In Shuiyu, that was already exceptional. Lin Feng, you've become monstrously strong, said Han Man, Pejun's cultivation level is even higher than mine now. I'm not even a strong cultivator, said Duan Feng while scratching his head. He looked embarrassed. Even though he had practiced a lot, in front of Lin Feng, he was still a weakling. Lin Feng gazed into the distance and saw someone he knew. That person was motionless, but his facial expression looked as sharp as a blade. Ba Dao, come here, said Lin Feng. Ba Dao walked towards Lin Feng and looked up at him. Lin Feng had saved him from slavery back then, even though he was much weaker than him. Nowadays, Lin Feng had become monstrously strong and possessed the highest social status in Shuiyu. 6th Xian Qi layer. Not bad, said Lin Feng while tapping Ba Dao's shoulders. Ba Dao smiled indifferently. They hadn't seen each other for such a long time. He missed Lin Feng, he always felt grateful for the opportunity Lin Feng had given him now. Chapter 875, Nature Pills. Ba Dao had suffered a lot in the past and experienced many hardships. He was feeling grateful to have such good friends. He wasn't a talkative man, but he enjoyed the feeling of having good friends. Brother, we have to drink a few glasses today, said Pejun, thinking of the hot unit they used to drink together. No problem, said Lin Feng while laughing naturally. He naturally didn't lack alcohol. My son, said Yu Menghe, before asking, do you have more of those pills? I do, said Lin Feng while nodding. Yu Menghe looked surprised. She wanted to say something, but Yu Qing-shan interrupted her. Menghe, I'm a century-old man, my cultivation has limits, so there's no need to waste such precious pills on me. Little Feng may need them, said Yu Qing-shan, who knew what Yu Menghe meant. He knew that he had made a lot of mistakes in the past, he had even pushed Lin Feng's woman to leave him for Yu Tianming. He had been a bad grandfather. So he understood if Lin Feng didn't want to give him his pills. Lin Feng looked at his mother and grandfather and smiled wryly. He understood what they meant. Mom, don't misunderstand me. Let bygones be bygones. Grandpa got injured because of us, how could I be unwilling to help him? Divine water pills can, indeed, heal him, but I want to give him another kind of pill which is more suitable for his condition, explained Lin Feng. Yu Menghe smiled. No matter what happened in the past, Yu Qing-shan was her father, and she knew that Yu Qing-shan had always loved her. She also knew that old people could stubborn at times. If Lin Feng had refused to help his grandfather, she would have been angry with him. But, it seemed like she had been thinking too much. Her son was kind-hearted. Yu Qingshan was surprised, but he smiled in a warm and gentle way. After seeing that Lin Feng had helped them all recover, if Lin Feng had refused to help him, he would have understood but would have felt frustrated. Mr. Qi, Mr. Hua. Lin Feng called the two old men. After seeing all those young people who had become stronger than them, they weren't feeling so great themselves. Mr. Qi, Mr. Hua, have you heard of nature pills? Asked Lin Feng. Nature pills, whispered Mr. Hua. He then frowned and glanced at Mr. Qi. The two old men looked surprised. Lin Feng knew that they had heard about those pills when he saw their reaction. Lin Feng, do you have the recipe for nature pills? Asked Mr. Hua. He was shivering while thinking about what Lin Feng had just told his mother. I do, said Lin Feng while nodding. In the purple golden mountain forbidden territory, the Zun cultivator had transmitted him the recipe. The Zun cultivator particularly liked that pill. Kacha. Mr. Qi and Mr. Hua clenched their fists. They looked at Lin Feng while smiling, they were speechless. Lin Feng could always surprise them. Nature pills are incredible Tian-level pills. They can make people come back to life, regenerate their vital organs and blood systems, heal their bones and soul, give them the strength of the earth and sky. Cultivators of the Tian Qi layer would kill for such pills. They can even help people break through to a new cultivation layer, said Mr. Hua slowly. Everybody was looking at him surprised. What a powerful pill! Divine water pills were holy healing pills and nature pills were holy cultivation pills. They could take vitality from the earth and sky and give it to cultivators. Yu Menghe and Yu Qingshan shivered when they thought of the implications. Yu Qingshan's heart was beating much faster all of a sudden. How nice! Lin Feng had planned everything already. He wanted to give him nature pills which would not only give him back his strength but make him stronger. After all, he had only broken through to the Xian Qi layer. At a certain age, he would become weaker again. It made sense that he needed to start a new life to become stronger. It was different for people like Lin Feng who had broken through to the Tian Qi layer at such a young age. Such individuals aged slower than others. Mr. Qi, Mr. Hua, the ingredients are not easy to get. You can first take the required purity stones to purchase the ingredients. Once you have them, we'll be able to make nature pills, then you two and my grandpa will be able to recover, explained Lin Feng while handing a piece of paper to the old men. It was the recipe for the nature pills. Mr. Qi and Mr. Hua took it. Of course they were going to look for those ingredients. Any person able to concoct nature pills, no matter where, was considered an extremely talented alchemist. Lin Feng had been able to find the recipe and that was incredible already, they could only imagine what he had gone through to find it. Lin Feng, we're off then, said the two old men. Lin Feng smiled wryly, the two old men were impatient but he could understand them. Seeing all those young people surpass them wasn't easy so they hoped to find the ingredients for the nature pills as soon as possible. Yi Shui and Yun Shi were chatting. From what Yi Shui was saying, Yun Shi knew that Lin Feng hadn't fooled her, she really had been in a coma for a few years. The Luoxia sect disappeared for a long time already. Many powerful sects had actually disappeared already. Great wars had taken place even. Sister, where am I now? In Lin Feng's house. Is Lin Feng the disciple of an aristocratic clan? Asked Yun Shi. Yi Shui smiled and said, you can say that you're in our master's house. Of course, this is the Imperial Palace of Shuiyu. The Imperial Palace of Shuiyu, said Yun Shi surprised. Is Lin Feng a nobleman of Shuiyu? Yi Shui smiled and shook her head, he's not a nobleman, he's the king. The king? Yun Shi was surprised. Lin Feng was a king. Yi Shui grabbed Yun Shi's hand and took her to some bench and told her Lin Feng's story. Yun Shi listened carefully as if she was listening to ancient legends. Lin Feng was that extraordinary. On the other side, men were drinking hot unit on the floor. Brother, you remember when we were in Black Wind Mountain hunting? That was a great time. Nowadays, we can't do that with you anymore because the gap between us is too wide. Of course, I'm really happy for you, but your fate is to reach the clouds. We don't belong in the same world anymore. Brother, sometimes, I wish you weren't so strong. Otherwise, we would be able to stay all together, travel around the continent and even get drunk sometimes, said Han Man while drinking more hot unit. His cheeks were burning. He only said these things because he thought of Lin Feng as a brother. Lin Feng gazed into the distance and remained silent. Han Man was actually right, the gap between them was ever increasing. Jing Yun seemed to sadden about what Han Man was saying. She lowered her head and also remained silent. Han Man, you silly boy. Why are you saying such pessimistic things? Let's get drunk today and be happy, said Pajun, which made Han Man smile. All right, Lin Feng, bro, let's drink. Han Man and Lin Feng raised their glasses, but deep in their heart, they weren't feeling as comfortable anymore. Chapter 876. Towards Black Wind Mountain. The sun was gradually setting, things were dark and a fresh wind had started blowing. Han Man and the others were already so drunk that they had collapsed on the ground. Their hearts were pounding and were quite warm. They didn't really know what was going on anymore. The hot unit alcohol was very strong but so good, getting drunk was normal. Lin Feng was lying down and watching the sunset with a smile. If he was able to get drunk like that every day, then he could live the rest of his life carefree. However, living in the cultivation world wasn't so easy. Meng Qing was still in Black Wind Mountain. Shen Gong would continue to send people to kill him. The East Sea Dragon Palace and Jade Heaven were looking for him, and Tian Xian's future was in Lin Feng's hands. He had to be strong, brave, and face all those things head-on. He had no choice but to become stronger. He had to reach the clouds, and someday he would look down upon everything. He had no choice anymore, he had already reached a point of no return. The sun was gradually setting and the moon was gaining significance, stars were gradually appearing. The Great Bear looked wonderful. What a mysterious world. From anywhere in the world, the sky was always the same. Were there people living on those stars? Han Man was lying next to Lin Feng and was snoring. Ba Dao and Pajun were sleeping in a defensive position, as if they were ready to attack even while sleeping. Duan Feng was sleeping like a child and Jing Yun had a smile on her face as if she was having a beautiful dream. Yi Shui and Jing Yun were leaning against each other and were sound asleep in a small pavilion not far from Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng's parents had already left a while ago, deciding to leave the young people by themselves. Xin Yi had joined and was calmly sitting next to Lin Feng. She was looking at the sky too. She didn't talk. Lin Feng was lost in thought, so she didn't want to bother him. Lin Feng wanted to enjoy the beauty of the scenery, but after a while his eyes closed and he fell asleep. Everything was like a beautiful painting. Very early in the morning, the dew had wet their clothes. Lin Feng opened his eyes and felt quite cold. Xin Yi was also very cold and hugging him tight. Lin Feng gently carried her in his arms and looked at his friends before he left. After he left, everybody else progressively woke up as well. After Lin Feng brought Xin Yi to bed, he went to a courtyard. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were there as well. They hadn't asked Lin Feng what happened during his journey, but they were actually very curious. They also wanted to know what happened to Meng Qing. Lin Feng sat on a stone chair and, without hiding anything from his parents, told them everything. Some other people wondered over and listened to him. There were other regions apart from Xueyu. Regions were only small part of the continent. Ganyu was a small region, but there were extremely strong cultivators there already. Even an empire of average quality possessed many cultivators of the Tian Qi layer, and even Zun cultivators. People in Xueyu were surprised to hear about such strength. Apart from Lin Feng, who had broken through to the Tian Qi layer, many of them had only broken through to the Xian Qi layer. But in some places, even the Tian Qi layer was a low level. They felt like the Xian Qi layer was great in Xueyu, but it was actually quite low. Lin Feng went to the mysterious world and received the instructions of an emperor. He had seen the emperor's statue and had sensed his intent. The outside world was extremely dangerous, but it was a part of the game. You had to struggle to gain opportunities. Emperors were incredible, they could destroy mountains only by stepping on them if they wished. But Lin Feng didn't talk about obtaining the Jade Emperor's palace, not because he didn't trust those people but because if they talked about it with the wrong people, it would have terrible consequences. It would be quite dangerous for them as well. Lin Feng explained how he went back to Tianqi and became the master of Tianxian. Yu Menghe and Lin Hai already knew about that but were still surprised. The others were extremely surprised though, their hearts were pounding. Lin Feng had become a young master in a great and powerful influential group. He would become an authentic leader and his teachers were Zun cultivators. He also had Tian-level cultivators under his control. Han Man and the others couldn't believe it. They couldn't imagine how big the continent was. With Xueyu being so small, even the Xueyu region was small. Back in the mysterious world, I found some intent crystals which can be used to practice cultivation. Back then, I had broken through to the Xianqi layer. When I was at the top of the Xianqi layer, I was already able to fight against cultivators of the Tianqi layer. When I didn't use special weapons, I had to rely on intent, for example sword intent. You all have to understand intent, otherwise, you will not be able to defeat strong cultivators of the same level, explained Lin Feng. From his hands, many small dazzling crystals appeared and which contained intent. You should use these intent crystals to practice cultivation, said Lin Feng. He wasn't going to keep those useful crystals to himself, he had to help his friends with such things. Besides, someday he would be able to destroy those people inside the Jade Emperor's palace and then, intent crystals would become ordinary stones for him. Everybody took some crystals and left to study intent. A lot of the intent crystals were taken but a few remained on the floor. Those intent crystals are useful for Tian-level cultivators as well. Intent crystals are precious treasures so don't show them to everyone outside. Otherwise, people will attack you to steal them. I should also note that besides cultivation purposes, intent crystals can be traded for precious items. Everybody nodded and took some more intent crystals. Lin Feng's parents, Mr. Qi and Mr. Hua also needed some intent crystals. Lin Feng also put some in the imperial palace, they would help make the entire town more powerful. When Mr. Qi and Mr. Hua come back, I will give them some pill recipes. When people here become stronger and when we have better pills, people from the imperial city will also benefit from them, thought Lin Feng. He then gazed into the distance and stood up. He rose up in the air and flew with incredible speed. The crowd then heard Lin Feng say, "I'm going to Black Wind Mountain." Everybody knew what Lin Feng was going to do there. Chapter 877, So close yet worlds apart. Black Wind Mountain and the Yunhai mountain range shared a border. They were both quite vast territories so nobody in Xueyu didn't really know anything about the Black Wind Mountains. Nobody had ever traveled into the depths of the Black Wind Mountain and those who had dared had never come back out alive. All that was known was the presence of the ferocious beasts. At the border between Black Wind Mountain and Yunhai was a terrifying storm. It contained a monstrous qi. Black clouds were in the sky that were filled with bestial qi. It had huge wings which could create hurricanes. Many beasts in Black Wind Mountain were raising their heads to look up at that qi. The rock wasn't a Xian-level beast, it was a Tian-level beast. There's a human being. At that moment, the beasts also realized that there was a human being on the rock. That human seemed unfazed by the strong winds created by the rock. That person was Lin Feng. At that moment, he was looking down at Yunhai, the place where everything started. Lin Feng frowned. How hot, there was a scorching qi emerging out of Yunhai. However, Lin Feng was 1 kilometer high in the air so he shouldn't sense such anything. What's going on, thought Lin Feng. He frowned but relaxed again. He wanted to go to Black Wind Mountain first to see Meng Qing. After that, he would come back to check out what was happening. Lin Feng couldn't recognize where Meng Qing lived, but the rock could. That's why Lin Feng decided to ride his rock there. The chi of the rock was terrifying, so the small beasts of Black Wind Mountain were all crouching and crawling to avoid him. Lin Feng remained calm as he finally arrived at the Black Wind Mountain. He was wondering where that middle-aged woman was Meng Qing with her? Back when she took Meng Qing, she told Lin Feng that only after breaking through to the Tian Qi layer could he go and look for her. There were vast grass fields, forests and beasts in Lin Feng's line of vision. Only now was he realizing how large the Black Wind Mountain was. There were fewer beasts in the depths of Black Wind Mountain, but they were more powerful than the beasts he had come across up until then. There were strong Xian-level beasts which possessed their own territories. Stronger beasts had broader territories, and it wasn't so easy to steal a territory from them. The beast tides that Lin Feng had experienced in the past as a disciple of the Yunhai sect were actually nothing. Those tides actually happened because Xian-level beasts scared the small beasts away. If the strong beasts from Black Wind Mountain had come out back then, a small sect like the Yunhai sect wouldn't have been able to compete with them. Finally, after a long time, things started feeling cold. Lin Feng looked in front of him and saw a snowy territory. Lin Feng hadn't arrived yet but could sense how cold it was. That coldness wasn't the same as other places, that kind of coldness was bestial and could chill the bones. Bzzzzz. The Tian-level rock arrived in front of that vast snowy area. This was a forbidden area in the Black Wind Mountain, a territory reserved to high-tier beasts. There were terrifying Tian-level beasts there. If Mother Master was willing, she could take Tian-level beasts into the forbidden territory, or she could expel them. In the distance, an ox glanced at the rock with its big eyes and looked surprised. There was a human riding a rock and was entering the forbidden territory. Last time, the ox had seen a terrifying energy inside the forbidden area when it couldn't help curb the curiosity. It wanted to see Tian-level beasts. Lin Feng landed on the ground and stepped on the ice. Coldness immediately invaded his legs. There was bestial qi in the snow, it had some of Meng Qing's bestial qi. Lin Feng slowly walked forwards into the middle of that white immensity, and the rock was following Lin Feng. Although they left footprints behind them, those footprints disappeared quickly because it was snowing so much. After walking for a long time, Lin Feng arrived in front of a gigantic snowy field. It seemed like an incredible beast was curled up there. If it stood up, it would be as tall and aloof as a palace or a mountain. Snow fox. Lin Feng looked at that gigantic beast. It had a white tail and appeared to be in symbiosis with the snow. She sensed Lin Feng and opened her eyes. Lin Feng's heart started beating faster. It's her. Lin Feng recognized the middle-aged woman. Ah! At that moment, a small white silhouette appeared. It looked at Lin Feng with tears in the corners of its eyes. She ran towards Lin Feng as fast as she could. Meng Qing. Lin Feng ran towards her using his Xiaoya agility technique. Bzzzzz. The ground shook as the gigantic snow fox turned into a middle-aged woman wearing a white robe. She looked like a queen. Lin Feng kept running towards Meng Qing and Meng Qing kept running towards him. However, it seemed like the distance between them wasn't changing. What's going on? Thought Lin Feng. He stopped running, but Meng Qing didn't. Even then she wasn't getting any closer. A path appeared as the lady shook her hand. Trees lined the sides of that path. Not only were Meng Qing and Lin Feng not getting any closer to each other, but the distance between them was increasing. So close yet worlds apart, that was the feeling Lin Feng had, and it was a horrible feeling. Mother Master was separating them. You said that I could come back after breaking through to the Tian Qi layer, and I did, said Lin Feng while looking at the beautiful mother. He knew the woman was way too strong for him. If she didn't agree, he wouldn't be able to see Meng Qing. I only said, after breaking through to the Tian Qi layer, that you can come and look for me. That's all, said the middle-aged woman looking proud. Even though Lin Feng had broken through to the Tian Qi layer, the woman didn't look proud of him or anything. If it hadn't been because of Ling Long, she would have killed him a long time ago. Shui Ling Long perfectly understood what it meant. Ling Long's blood was pure, she had the blood of a queen. "What do I need to do?" asked Lin Feng. "From here is a snowy path. If you want to take Ling Long with you, you must walk to the end of that path," said the middle-aged woman. She then shook her hand again and Lin Feng lost all the sounds of world, as if he was in another world, a world made of snow. The middle-aged woman and Meng Qing were at the end of that path and he could see them clearly. Chapter 878, Struggling through the path. Lin Feng knew that simply walking the path wasn't enough to reach the other side. The middle-aged woman had condensed abstruse energy and infused that path. How long would it take to walk that path? Lin Feng wasn't sure, but he had no choice. He had to find a solution, so he started walking slowly. Just as he guessed, after walking a while, the distance between them remained the same. Lin Feng didn't know what to do. That path seemed like its goal was to make people lose hope. Lin Feng took a few steps and felt ice penetrating into his body. "I can surprisingly feel the cold," thought Lin Feng. He couldn't believe it. He had already broken through to the Tian Qi layer. He could of course tell whether it was hot or cold, but that feeling of having coldness penetrate his body like daggers. That coldness was extremely potent. After stopping for a few seconds, Lin Feng started walking again, but it was useless. The coldness was also becoming more intense. The more he walked, the more the ice penetrated into his body. After so many steps, the distance between them was still the same. It seemed like Lin Feng would never reach the other end. Meng Qing was watching him with tears in her eyes. Lin Feng was already shivering and shaking because of the cold. "Woo, woo," Meng Qing was crying while looking back at the middle-aged woman. However, the middle-aged woman looked indifferent about Lin Feng's suffering. Meng Qing couldn't do anything, so she looked back at Lin Feng again. He wasn't stopping. Lin Feng had to stop if he wanted to live, but couldn't because he couldn't give up Meng Qing. No matter what, he had to reach the other end. The only way he would stop is if he died. Time passed slowly. Lin Feng was now surrounded by a layer of ice. He was still breathing, but it was slowing. For each step he took, he had to take incredible efforts. That snowy path was called the "so close yet so far" path. No matter what Lin Feng did, he couldn't reach the other end. Lin Feng understood that, but he didn't want to give, so kept walking. He had a strange feeling though, like he could actually make it to Meng Qing. Kacha! His legs couldn't support his body anymore because they were frozen. Lin Feng fell down, but he smiled at Meng Qing. It seemed like his strength was infinite. He stood up again and started walking. As long as he was alive, he would continue. "Woo, woo, woo," Meng Qing kept crying and looking at the middle-aged woman, but she seemed determined to let Lin Feng die. "Ling Long, do you know why you, as a celestial fox, are called Shui Ling Long?" asked the middle-aged woman. "We are snow foxes, and there is a legend that says that Ling Long is not an animal but a deity. The earth was pregnant and gave birth to a snow fox. Then, the snow fox and Ling Long had a child who was called Shui Ling Long. Shui Ling Long was a fox emperor and transmitted its blood spirit from generation to generation. However, very few descendants had a pure and unadulterated blood spirit. Many of them are just like me, they have inherited only a part of the blood spirit. Very rarely, someone with a pure and unadulterated blood spirit appears like you. Such people are kings or queens, and you, Shui Ling Long, are a queen. Your blood is pure. You are a direct offspring of this lineage, you have the same blood as those ancestors in the legends," said the middle-aged woman. It was difficult to distinguish those who had a pure blood from those who didn't, but the middle-aged woman never doubted Shui Ling Long. She was a celestial fox, a queen, a direct descendant of the ancient emperors. Her future could only be extraordinary. Ling Long, you have to understand that your holy celestial qi is extremely important, yet, you surprisingly chose to be with a human. You gave your pure and celestial qi to a human being, said the middle-aged woman who sounded furious. Fury had appeared on her beautiful and noble face, just like the last time when she had seen that Lin Feng and Meng Qing were together. She wanted to kill Lin Feng but she couldn't. Ling Long had offered her purity to Lin Feng, therefore, Lin Feng couldn't die. Unfortunately, she couldn't handle Ling Long easily, otherwise Lin Feng wouldn't cherish her as much as he would if he had fought for her. A celestial being, a king, should have taken Meng Qing's virginity. Woo! Meng Qing was sad, which made the middle-aged woman shake her head and sigh. Meng Qing wasn't worried about her celestial qi, she was worried about Lin Feng. I want to kill him but I can't because he took your virginity. What can I do? Asked the middle-aged woman. But, he's just an ordinary human being. How could he be with a celestial snow fox? Therefore, you shouldn't worry Ling Long, I won't kill him, said the middle-aged woman in a cold way, but at least Meng Qing could relax. She knew that Lin Feng was safe. However, seeing Lin Feng suffer like that was horrible. She wished she could replace Lin Feng on that snowy path. The one who wants to be the lover of a snow fox queen has to be extraordinary, said the middle-aged woman while looking at Lin Feng. The ice qi was becoming even more intense and it was enveloping Lin Feng's body. He had the feeling that his feet and legs weighed millions of tons. That ice qi was terrifying and Lin Feng couldn't stop it. He didn't know how many more steps he would be able to make. Chapter 879, Ling Long's Holy Celestial Qi. The ice was hurting Lin Feng's internal organs and his entire body was enveloped in a layer of ice. Even though he wasn't showing it, Lin Feng knew that his body was close to failing. It was just like in the past when Meng Qing used to suffer from her ice. Lin Feng wanted to curl up on the path and sleep but he couldn't give up. He raised his head, looked at the middle-aged woman, then continued walking. Each of his steps took more of his vitality away. Meng Qing was crying and emitting sounds as if she was trying to talk to Lin Feng. Even though Lin Feng couldn't understand, he could guess that she was telling him to give up. Since I put you on that road, it means that you can reach the other end. If you give up, it will prove that you are a loser and I will never let you see Ling Long again. Even if I don't kill you, the middle-aged woman's voice drifted into Lin Feng's ears. She looked a little bit more friendly only when she looked at Meng Qing. She was extremely unfriendly to Lin Feng and even looked emotionless when she looked at him. I can reach the other side, whispered Lin Feng. He was wondering if it was true or not. He didn't know how, but the middle-aged woman was right, giving up would mean that he was powerless and then he would never see Meng Qing ever again. Lin Feng walked slower. Not only did he need strength but he needed determination and perseverance as well. His hands seemed frozen, he could barely move them at this point. Lin Feng condensed pure qi and condensed the strength of the Haruka in his feet. Even then his veins were all freezing and his blood was flowing slower. Lin Feng seemed like he was dying. Perseverance, his brain was still functioning, his feet were still moving. The middle-aged woman's facial expression changed for a second but quickly became normal again. That human being really loved Ling Long, otherwise, he wouldn't risk his life like this. His willpower was incredible. Unfortunately, Lin Feng was just an ordinary human being and was a weak cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer. Ling Long was a queen and possessed an aristocratic blood. She had kept Ling Long in Black Wind Mountain her entire life to protect her. Besides, nobody knew about the snow fox legends in the Shuiyu region. Outside of the Shuiyu region things were different. Last time during the Shuiyu War, some people had actually recognized Shui Ling Long but didn't know that she was a queen, that's all. In the continent of the Nine Clouds, it was another story, they perfectly knew the story of that aristocratic family. Very far away, there was a snow palace where many people like Ling Long existed, would they be nice to her? Maybe if they learnt that Shui Ling Long was there, a war would start. Therefore, Ling Long deserved someone better than Lin Feng because he couldn't protect her. Unfortunately, Ling Long had spoiled her virginity and given it to him. She hadn't cherished her purity and her celestial qi, otherwise she wouldn't have turned into a beast again on that day in Shuiyu. Ah! Ling Long started running towards Ling Long and the middle-aged woman shook her head and sighed. Was love real? Making Ling Long risk her life for him, giving her purity to him. Lin Feng was ready to die for her. Unfortunately, he was only a human being. It would have been so nice if he was an emperor's son. She didn't understand Lin Feng and Meng Qing's love. From the first day, both had had a very deep connection and they had always stuck together. Lin Feng taught her how to ride a horse, she listened to his stories. For him, she was ready to kill. Each time she suffered from the ice qi, Lin Feng would use his sun qi to alleviate her pains. Maybe only Meng Qing and Lin Feng knew that kind of deep love. Meng Qing could do anything for Lin Feng as long as they were together. Lin Feng was the same, he even turned into a demon for her and as a demon, he could still recognize her. Finally, Lin Feng stopped as both his legs were frozen. His energy and intent were frozen too. It seemed like his eyes were going to stay frozen shut. Shui Ling Long was crying and shaking. She was trying to run towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled, he didn't want to close his eyes but everything was frozen. Determination and strength were limited. Lin Feng's eyes closed themselves but his awareness was still there. It was as if he had died. Time stopped. But it was at this moment that his consciousness could sense a certain light in his body. Some of his qi hadn't frozen. What's that? Thought Lin Feng stupefied. Was it his qi? He had never sensed that kind of qi. It didn't take long for Lin Feng to understand that Meng Qing had given it to him. Back on that day, when he made love with Meng Qing, he felt that she had given him some of her own qi. He had even found it strange. However, after that, he hadn't sensed that qi again. Lin Feng assumed that it had dispersed in his body. What kind of qi is that? Thought Lin Feng. While all the other kinds of qi in his body had frozen, this qi was still there. It proved that that qi was extraordinary. Lin Feng tried to control that qi and make it flow but he couldn't. He tried to make his intent communicate with that qi and it seemed like it could work, but making that qi come out seemed impossible. Lin Feng wasn't giving up though, he would try to use everything he could. He tried many times and finally, he managed to some of the qi flow. Lin Feng was ecstatic, his qi which had been frozen until then was slowly flowing again. Ling Long didn't know what kind of qi that was, but it was actually the holy celestial qi which had been transmitted to Snow Fox monarchs. Chapter 880, Bestial Skill. Lin Feng had hope again. He was trying to use his intent and awareness to make that qi move more. However, it was very difficult. That qi didn't completely obey him. No matter how he tried, it was too difficult. But Lin Feng didn't give up. Besides, the middle-aged woman told him that it was possible to reach the other end of that path. Did she mean that he could only with that qi? Did the middle-aged woman know that Meng Qing had given him that qi? Lin Feng was thinking and trying to make it move at the same time. Meng Qing appeared in his thoughts which made him even more persistent. As long as he had hope, he couldn't give up. Finally, the qi started moving a little bit again. Some parts of his vitality started recovering. Some pure qi, some Haruka strength, but they couldn't break through the ice. The amounts were still not enough. If he couldn't combine all his energies and strengths, it was all useless. Lin Feng's vitality was progressively recovering. His pure qi and his strength of the Haruka were also moving in a more fluent way. He was trying to mix them with that strange qi in order to control it. Lin Feng was progressively taking control over it. That qi kept flowing and reaching all the corners of his body. His strength was coming back to normal. He didn't feel cold anymore, it was as if the ice had no effect on him anymore. Bzzzzz. At that moment, a dazzling light surrounded Lin Feng's body. Some qi emerged and turned into strength. Lin Feng was enveloped by a halo which contained some holy celestial qi. His long hair, his face, the lights around his body, everything about him seemed strange and perhaps a little bit bestial as well. Apart from human qi, Lin Feng's qi was also bestial. Was he turning into a beast? Lin Feng took a step forwards and started running towards Meng Qing. At that moment, he was bathing in a bestial light. He used his Xiaoya agility technique, but the abstruse energy of the endless path still prevented him. It seems that speed wasn't necessary to get near Meng Qing. Lin Feng looked at the middle-aged woman. The middle-aged woman was observing Ling Long and noticed that Lin Feng's body was surrounded by Ling Long's holy celestial qi. It was as if Lin Feng had changed and transformed into a handsome beast. With such an incredible qi, any being looked beautiful, men, women, everyone. With such a qi, a living creature would be surrounded by a beautiful light and look like a deity. Even human beings who possessed such a qi looked beautiful, just like Lin Feng at that moment. As handsome as he was, many female animals would even be attracted by him. "Why are you still preventing me from approaching?" asked Lin Feng to the middle-aged woman. The road wasn't becoming normal, so Lin Feng couldn't get near. "That qi belongs to Shui Ling Long, it is the qi of my snow fox ancestors. It can envelop anything and it contains abstruse energy. But the path is endless, it's not a normal space," said the middle-aged woman slowly. Her voice resonated like drums in Lin Feng's brain. Ling Long slowly closed his eyes and sensed the atmosphere. The holy celestial qi was shining on the snow. Lin Feng was trying to fuse with the snow. Meng Qing stopped running and looked at Lin Feng, then she looked at the middle-aged woman. There were no tears in her eyes anymore, she was even smiling. "Woo woo," she groaned happily. She felt touched, even moved. She looked at her mother, she knew that her mother had transmitted a bestial skill to Lin Feng. Her mother had initially never intended to make things difficult for Lin Feng, she just wanted Lin Feng to activate his bestial qi. Of course, if Lin Feng's determination hadn't sufficed, it wouldn't have worked and he would have frozen to death. Concerning the bestial skill, it was an extremely powerful skill which human beings couldn't practice, but because Lin Feng possessed bestial qi, he could use it to practice such bestial skills. That qi was going to help Lin Feng level up very quickly. Finally, the middle-aged woman penetrated Lin Feng's brain and inspected his memories. She then looked at Ling Long inside. Since Lin Feng had learnt the skill, what else could she do to help Ling Long and Lin Feng? Lin Feng had already obtained Ling Long's qi. Besides, Ling Long was ready to die out of love for Lin Feng. Her mother could only help them and help Lin Feng become stronger, that way he could protect her daughter. Lin Feng was standing there. Everything seemed to look like an illusion. Surprisingly, everything turned into emptiness as the holy celestial qi enveloped him. Snowflakes were floating around as Lin Feng suddenly disappeared as if he had never existed. If other people had seen that, they would have been terrified. A living human had disappeared, and Lin Feng was only a Tian-level cultivator. That boy's power of understanding is not bad, thought the middle-aged woman. A short while after, Lin Feng slowly appeared again in that mysterious world. Then, he disappeared again. He could do that as he wished. After a few more times, Lin Feng stopped and studied the skill again. He shook his hand and disappeared again, fusing with the void. Then, he appeared again all of a sudden, but this time somewhere else, next to Meng Qing. In a flash, he could go back and forth from the endless path. Phew, Lin Feng took a deep breath and looked at the endless path. Around him was a vast and boundless snowy area, in front of him was Meng Qing. He could stretch out his hand and touch her. That snowy path was part of the void. I couldn't have walked inside no matter how much I tried, thought Lin Feng. The endless path wasn't a physical location, it was emptiness made of abstruse energies. It was another world, a world of emptiness. Such a strong abstruse energy made Lin Feng speechless. A moment before, the middle-aged woman had transmitted the bestial skill to him, and it was related to that world of emptiness. Lin Feng had to use holy celestial qi to control that space. Chapter 881, Collapsing Atmosphere. Meng Qing, said Lin Feng lovingly. Xue Ling Long emitted a small sound and jumped into Lin Feng's arms. Lin Feng hugged her tightly and caressed her snowy white hair. The middle-aged woman looked at her silently, then slowly turned around. She flew off into the distance as a myriad of snowflakes followed her. However, Meng Qing and Lin Feng seemingly didn't notice that she left. From the distance, a terrifying bestial qi dashed to the skies and invaded the atmosphere. Meng Qing shivered and turned her head around and gazed into the distance. There was an incredible bestial qi. Mother! Tears appeared in Meng Qing's eyes. Even though she knew that the middle-aged woman wasn't her mother, she was still sad to see her leave. Before meeting Lin Feng, she had always stayed with that woman. Now, Lin Feng was there for Meng Qing, so the middle-aged woman left them alone. Lin Feng would take care of her now. Leave this place. Before Ling Long turns into a human being again, don't go to the holy city, said a nostalgic voice from the distance. The earth and sky then turned back to normal. Meng Qing remained motionless. She knew that her mother had only stayed there to protect her. Lin Feng sensed the bestial qi getting farther away, so he sighed. He felt grateful, he didn't hate her at all. Everything she did was for Meng Qing, so he had no reason to hate her. Meng Qing, don't think too much about it. I will never leave you again, said Lin Feng while wiping off her tears. She raised her head and looked at Lin Feng while nodding. She then snuggled into his arms. Lin Feng held her tightly and slowly turned around. He gazed into the distance and looked at the mountains. The middle-aged woman told him to leave that place, so could it be that there were other treasures there? Rock, shouted Lin Feng. The rock came to him in an instant. He was surprised to see that Mother Master had agreed to let Meng Qing stay with him. Lin Feng jumped onto the back of the rock and started flying. Mother Master had already left, so the rock wasn't scared anymore. He was flying carefree and in an unrestrained way. After a while flying, Lin Feng realized that Meng Qing's mother changed the mountain so they couldn't leave. The rock was surprised as well. In normal circumstances, they should have been out a while ago already. Land, whispered Lin Feng to the rock. The gigantic rock then flew down and Lin Feng jumped onto the snow. The middle-aged woman wanted Lin Feng to understand the bestial void skill even more, it seemed. Now he had no time to waste. A few days before, Lin Feng had fought against some powerful groups in Xueyu, and people from their countries were probably mounting a counterstrike now. Lin Feng had to get back before those countries sent stronger cultivators to Xueyu. After thinking about it, Lin Feng instantly released a strange bestial qi and snowflakes surrounded Lin Feng. Another world appeared. Lin Feng disappeared and reappeared in and out of the new world. Lin Feng started running, that world was his. A terrifying hot qi was blowing outside of the Black Wind Mountain. Most people couldn't stand it anymore and moved away. The protectors of the Yunhai sect gathered together and discussed going back to Yangzhou City. It was way too hot, and the constant fires in the mountain range was becoming too difficult to manage. Ah, a horrible shriek spread in the air. Everybody turned around and saw a silhouette being devoured by some flames and then disappearing. Everybody's face turned deathly pale. They watched as their friend burned alive because they couldn't do anything themselves. He wasn't the first one to die in this way either. What should we do? Someone said. They looked to be at their wits' end. Let's leave. I think that our patriarch will not blame us. Instead, he will send the strong cultivators of our sect over here to figure out what's going on, someone else said. Everybody was talking at the same time. Soon everyone nodded and left. Let's go. Let's go. The crowd gradually left the Yunhai mountain range. Boom! At that moment, an earthquake started. The crowd around and saw something come out of the mountain where the Yunhai sect used to organize their exams. It seemed like the mountain had turned into a volcano. What's going on? What is that fire and why is it so powerful? Thought the crowd. Another extremely loud sound resonated as the volcano erupted again. This time, a gigantic silhouette appeared. It was some kind of fire creature and it had two bestial-looking eyes. A fire beast, thought the Yunhai sect, looking desperate. It seemed like a catastrophe would befall them. Many more fire creatures were appearing as well. Ha ha ha. King Fire, we finally escaped, the small creatures kept laughing evilly. Another silhouette appeared, but this time it wasn't a fire creature, it was a human being wearing a black robe. He was laughing like a madman. Finally, I came out. Li Shang, has finally made it out. That silhouette released an oppressive energy at the sky. Back then, he had found out that human beings were coming into their world. He helped one and taught him how to use soul flags. Then, he chased him to the exit. Using his flag, he was able to sense the outside world. Similarly to humans who were able to go to their world using a time and space distortion in the desert, they were also able to go to the world of the humans. King Fire told his army to break the distortion immediately, and it wasn't until now that they had broke through to the new world. Li Shang closed his eyes and took in a deep breath. He opened his eyes and looked at the weak human beings in the distance. He couldn't help but look a bit hopeless, those human beings were so weak. Die, said Li Shang at that moment furiously. He released a terrifying chi and attacked the Yunhai sect disciples. Explosions sounded, the crowd looked desperate. They collapsed one after the other and died. Their deaths were sudden that their eyes were still open. Who is the beast here? You or me? Said King Fire to Li Shang. Li Shang came out and a few seconds later and was already slaughtering people. We're in a new world, of course I'm excited and want to have fun, said Li Shang while smiling evilly. He then immediately left. Chapter 882, A New World in the Ancient Palace. The painting contained a terrifying amount of fire. And at that moment, there was a hole in it. In front of that painting was a beast that looked like a wolf. Its pupils were piercingly cold, its evil chi was extremely dense, but it wasn't that strong. Fire twinkled and the wolf left the palace. It hid in a dark place and absorbed some pure chi from the earth and sky. Their chi was boiling and turning into a vortex. Fire wolves like this one were continuously escaping from the palace. They would then cross Yunhai and enter the Black Wind Mountain. It was an entirely new world for them. When Yangzhou City heard about what was happening, the government reacted immediately. They sent Qixia troops to combat the fire wolves. Amongst the fire wolves, there were very powerful Xian-level wolves. Wherever they stepped, the ground sizzled. Villages were left flattened by their rampage. Some people were leaving their cities in Shuaiyu just to avoid those beasts. Qixia troops were looking around. Lin Hai and Yu Menghe were floating in the air and staring at the fire wolves. Those fire wolves were from that world they had teleported to before. Back in the Lovesickness Forest was a tunnel which led to that world. Had they come through the tunnel in the Lovesickness Forest? But the fire wolves appeared in the Yunhai mountain range, which meant that there was another tunnel to the other world. After the calm, the storm, whispered Yu Menghe. She looked sad. This time, so many people had died. One day later, some news spread. A terrifying Tian-level beast had appeared. People heard that apart from beasts, people had appeared in the Yunhai mountain range as well, and those people were fighting the wolves. Even though they weren't from Shuaiyu, they were still humans after all. Although most of the new people were fighting the wolves, some were cruel and fighting other humans, they were killing mercilessly. There was also a rumor that a middle-aged man wearing a dark robe had appeared. It was said that he was extremely strong and despised everyone. His passion was to kill, especially young and beautiful women. In his eyes, it almost seemed like Shui Yu's people were nothing more than toys. He enjoyed playing with humans and using his full strength to slaughter them. Apart from that, people didn't know that there was a fire wolf which possessed monstrously powerful qi. It was devouring other fire wolves to strengthen itself. The massacre lasted for 2 days and 2 nights, all the while, Shui Yu was still on fire. Then, a few Tian-level beasts appeared in the imperial palace of Yangzhou City and started attacking. All those fire wolves seemed unstoppable. At the same time, in the depths of the Black Wind Mountain, a young man with a magnificent snowy white beast appeared. Of course, it was Lin Feng. Finally, we made it out. There was less snow around them now because Lin Feng wasn't using Ling Long's holy celestial qi anymore. However, when Lin Feng appeared high up in the sky, he realized that outside of the Black Wind Mountain was an infinite number of flames. The Black Wind Mountain seemed to be burning. Lin Feng also noticed the cruel-looking fire wolves. Fire wolves, Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. He had gone to another world before, through the tunnel of the lovesickness forest. It was there that he had seen those fire wolves before. Yunhai Mountain Range. Lin Feng suddenly thought about the fire he noticed before going to the Black Wind Mountain. The rock then immediately flew towards the Yunhai Mountain Range. Lin Feng noticed the Yunhai Mountain Range already looked like a sea of fire. The fire wolves and humans seemed to be giving it their all. But when they saw Lin Feng and his Tian-level rock, they practically wet themselves. Where did that extremely strong cultivator come from? Bzzz. A terrifying qi emerged as the rock flapped its wings and crushed all those fire wolves. Lin Feng then walked to those people. Where are you from? Asked Lin Feng. We are from Tianya Hage, said one of them. Lin Feng became upset, they really were from Tianya Hage. If you do anything suspicious, I'll make sure you all die, said Lin Feng coldly. Those people looked scared and kept nodding. Lin Feng's silhouette flickered as he disappeared. Very quickly, Lin Feng arrived on the mountain where the exams of the Yunhai sect used to occur. The door of the ancient palace was already broken open and burning. The inside of the ancient palace contained a sea of flames. The painting itself contained some mysterious marks which were twinkling at that moment. It represented another world and the tiny hole in it was how everyone was escaping. A painting had become a space, its own world. It wasn't the first time that Lin Feng saw such a mysterious and marvelous object. Shingong had its own world, one that needed special skills to get there. There was also the Jade Emperor's palace, although it was a smaller world. Then, there was the world created by Meng Qing's mother, the Endless World. One had to understand the void bestial skill to get out of it. All of this was proving to Lin Feng that strong cultivators were not only capable of destroying things, they could also create other worlds. Chapter 883, Evil Li Shang who created that small world? What was its meaning? Were the writings, back then, on the Haruka statue true? Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. The gigantic statue was still there, but now it was on fire. Lin Feng could still see the warning written in small letters on the statue. It said that no one should attack the statue, but Lin Feng attacked it anyways. Lin Feng felt a little guilty now. He had acted carelessly and Shui Yu had to pay for his carelessness. The one who had written that warning knew everything, perhaps he was the author of the painting as well. Lin Feng couldn't figure that out right now. He grabbed the painting and took out a demon seal stone. He slammed the stone into the hole. Boom boom boom. Lin Feng had to use 3 stones to seal the hole. The fire outside suddenly became much weaker now that the hole on the painting was firmly sealed. The world was slowly becoming normal again. Who would have thought that that painting contained another world? Lin Feng took the painting and the demon seal stones and left the palace. He rose up in the air and looked at the desolate fields, sighing. Let's go, said Lin Feng, now on the back of his rock. They were going to go hunt fire wolves. Very quickly, Lin Feng arrived in front of a group of fire wolves. He took out his soul flag and swallowed all the wolves in a flash. The flag twinkled with bestial lights as it ate them. What's that? Thought Lin Feng suddenly. He was surprised to see a seal on his soul flag. Lin Feng never realized it before. That soul seal, needless to say, had been left by Li Shang. Li Shang was a cultivator of the Tianqi layer and had rushed to that world on purpose. At the same time, in a city, Li Shang had confined a beautiful girl to a room. She looked like she was in pain as she was being raped by Li Shang. At that moment, Li Shang could sense something, so he looked into the distance. He noticed Lin Feng and smiled coldly. Without Lin Feng, he wouldn't have been able to find a way out. He was now completely free. He could enjoy women and other pleasures as much as he wanted. Nothing was impossible. Little boy, when I'm done playing around I'll come and find you, thought Li Shang with an evil smile on his face. He then continued raping the girl. At that moment, Lin Feng released a terrifying sword chi and annihilated all the fire wolves. Then, his rock flew towards Li Shang. That place was a beautiful city in Shuiyu. It was called Sky Cloud City. There were rivers, mountains, and beautiful clouds. The girls in that city were known to be beautiful. It used to be much richer and more powerful than Yangzhou City, but now the city was a bloodbath. Not such a long time before, a man wearing a black cape came to Sky Cloud City. He started killing people like insects and raping women. He truly was a psychopath. However, nobody could stop him in Sky Cloud City. Cultivators at the Tianqi layer were the strongest in Shuiyu. Some people who couldn't stand being powerless tried resisting but failed and were killed instantly. For Li Shang, killing was a passion, a pleasure, a game. Boom! In that beautiful room, some chi exploded and a few shouts spread in the air. The family members of the girl who was being raped by Li Shang found them in the room and went insane. However, they died soon after. Back when Lin Feng had seen Li Shang in the other world, Li Shang was a good-looking man. However, his eyes had become particularly evil after all those years. At that moment, Li Shang was surprised. He realized that his soul flag was marked with his own seal, but it was now getting closer to him at an incredible speed. He was surprised. Back then, Lin Feng used to be a tiny cultivator. Could it be that Lin Feng discovered his soul seal? Was it only a coincidence? Li Shang frowned and guessed that it wasn't a coincidence. Lin Feng's speed was too fast. Even though he couldn't see Lin Feng yet, he could sense the soul seal and he knew that that speed could only be maintained by a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. The little boy from back then had turned into a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. Interesting. Li Shang smiled indifferently and looked at the crowd while shouting aggressively, "From now on, nobody moves. If someone moves, I'll kill them." Everyone was shaking with fear. Two people tried to escape but Li Shang noticed them and immediately killed them. No one else tried to make a break for it. Li Shang looked extremely satisfied when he saw the crowd, he even smiled. He then looked in the distance and said, "Someone is coming to save you. We're going to play a game which starts now. Every 10 minutes or the time needed for an incense to burn, I will kill one of you until that person arrives." The crowd was both stunned and terrified. They couldn't do anything but pray. Finally, an incense has burnt. It really does burn slowly. Li Shang smiled, shook his hand and someone died. The person standing next to the one who was killed was also affected by the attack and their cultivation was crippled. Li Shang looked satisfied and smiled evilly. Of course, he had crippled that person's cultivation on purpose. "Don't move, if you try, you'll die," said Li Shang when he saw that some people started looking antsy. Everybody remained motionless, too were terrified to move. Time was passing slowly and several people were killed by Li Shang. Very quickly it seemed, a dozen people had already died. The crowd looked desperate while staring at Li Shang. He loved that feeling, everything was a game to him. "He's almost here. I can feel it, whispered Li Shang. The crowd looked at Li Shang, who was gazing into the distance. They suddenly had hope again. Was that person really able to deal with Li Shang? Boom boom. Li Shang killed 2 other people and laughed. He then released an incredible energy which oppressed the whole crowd. Finally, he has arrived. Li Shang's facial expression looked sharp. He couldn't wait. How strong had Li Feng become? Bzzz. In the distance, a strong wind appeared and a bestial qi was dashing to the skies. A beast? At that moment, Li Shang looked surprised. There was a beast? On top of that, it was a Tian-level beast. No wonder it was traveling so fast, not to mention that bestial qi was terrifying. Li Shang frowned. That bestial qi was much more powerful than he had expected. Li Shang was actually a little scared. Let's go. Li Shang then immediately started to leave. In a flash, he disappeared. He was retreating as fast as he could. Very quickly, they saw a gigantic and terrifying Tian-level beast, the rock. On the rock was a silhouette wearing white clothes. They looked handsome, natural and unrestrained. That young man was holding a beautiful small beast in his arms. Chapter 884, Evil Methods. There was a beautiful legend in Shuiyu. Back when the king of Shuiyu, Lin Feng, was about to be married with Duan Xinyi, he discovered a conspiracy. The imperial family invited Lin Feng, his family, and his friends because they wanted to kill them all. After that, the woman whom Lin Feng loved the most used her full strength of the Tian Qi layer to defend against Duan Renhuang. She defeated Duan Renhuang, but in the end, she turned into a beautiful celestial beast, Xue Ling Long. After watching that, Lin Feng became furious and turned into a demon. He then killed Duan Renhuang and a few others. Since their king had come back, they had heard rumors that he was able to kill Tian-level cultivators with one punch. A moment before, Li Shang had sensed how powerful Lin Feng was and guessed that he wouldn't be able to fight, so he left. What's going on? Asked Lin Feng when he saw all those corpses and the terrified crowd. King Lin Feng, a slayer, came here. At the beginning, he said he would wait for you to arrive and meanwhile, kill a person each time an incense finished burning. He raped lots of women and killed many others. Lin Feng was furious. Since he visited Tianyahage, Lin Feng knew that Li Shang was disturbed and that he was a cultivator of the Tian Qi layer, but he wouldn't have thought that he was so psychotic. The crowd was obviously furious and hated Li Shang. What a bastard, said Lin Feng. He then continued flying with his rock. He was flying with incredible speed, creating strong winds all around them. The speed of Tian-level beast was incredible. Very quickly, Lin Feng could see his enemy in the distance. Li Shang's heart was pounding. He regretted everything. What had made Lin Feng become so strong? He thought that even if Lin Feng was strong, he had just broken through to the Tian Qi layer and would definitely be unable to defeat him. Running away is useless, said Lin Feng coldly. Li Shang knew that he wasn't faster than the rock, so he stopped and turned around to face Lin Feng and his rock. Lin Feng's face was filled with murder. As expected, first Tian Qi layer, thought Li Shang. Even though Lin Feng had become quite strong, he had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer. That damn rock was a bigger problem. Lin Feng, I wouldn't have thought that we would meet again. Since you left Tianyahage, you became so much stronger. You even broke through to the Tian Qi layer, congratulations, said Li Shang while smiling, but Lin Feng ignored him. Lin Feng, there's no need to act like that. Even though I came to your world, aren't we both similar? Why fight and harm ourselves because of a bunch of nobodies, said Li Shang when he sensed Lin Feng's terrifying energies. He was also slightly smiling. If I don't kill you today, I don't deserve to be called the king of Shuiyu, said Lin Feng. Rock, don't kill him. The rock threw himself at Li Shang and Lin Feng stayed in the air watching. Boom! Whirlwinds appeared around the rock, who quickly approached Li Shang. It tried to grab Li Shang with its claws. Li Shang shook his hands and at the same time, he dodged back. Li Shang could barely breathe in front of the rock. Slash! The rock's claws cut through the air. Li Shang moved in the other direction but then heard a sound. The rock had bombarded Li Shang with his other wing. Li Shang looked deathly pale as he coughed up some blood. He shook his hand and his soul flag appeared. It seemed to contain some potent death chi. Die! Shouted Li Shang furiously. It seemed like many dead souls were attacking the rock. Their dead chi was extremely dense. The rock's facial expression was sharp. It released some chi which turned into a golden sword, a bestial sword of sorts. CRRR, CRRR, the sword was extremely sharp and capable of crushing the dead in a flash. At the same time, the rock threw itself at Li Shang again. It streaked across the sky and the soul flag seemed to be getting dimmer. Li Shang could barely resist the rock as it crashed onto him. This time it grabbed him with its claws. Li Shang gave a horrible shriek as blood splashed. The rock's claws were extremely sharp and immediately tore open his arm. If Lin Feng hadn't told it not to kill him, then it would have beheaded him right there. Bzzz. The rock brought Li Shang back to Lin Feng as blood kept spilling out of his arm. Lin Feng was staring at Li Shang with complete disdain. Li Shang felt a million blades cutting him to pieces. Dying outright would have been easier than suffering like that. Li Shang couldn't bear the pain anymore. He looked at Lin Feng and tried to throw himself at him. He released some chi and yelled, "You think that you're so powerful but you're just a tiny cultivator at the first Tian Chi layer. You shall die." CRRR, 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 a sword appeared and Li Shang released his evil chi into the sword, feeding it. A vortex appeared and surrounded the sword. After that, Li Shang turned to Lin Feng and punched the air with his other hand in Lin Feng's direction. Boom! Lin Feng's fist also launched out, making everything around them shake. His punch was terrifying. Li Shang had broken through to the third Tian Chi layer, so if Lin Feng wanted to fight him, he had to possess a similar strength. But, Lin Feng's muscles were extremely strong thanks to his Haruka strength. Kaboom! An explosion sounded in the air. Not only was Lin Feng's punch extremely powerful, it also contained sword chi. Li Shang gave a horrible shriek again as his arm was completely torn to shreds. Even if he wanted to run away, he couldn't do it anymore. Now, his arm was completely cut off and his blood splashed everywhere. Li Shang was propelled backwards as Lin Feng used his Xiaoyao agility technique to continue his assault. "For a cultivator of the Tian Chi layer, you're quite pathetic," said Lin Feng in a humiliating way. Boom boom, a gigantic fist crashed onto Li Shang's head, making his entire soul shake violently. A little bit more strength and his soul would have been completely destroyed. He then crashed onto the ground. Slash! Pain made Li Shang regain consciousness. His leg was cut off by Lin Feng's sword chi. "I said it before, if I don't kill you, I don't deserve to be king," said Lin Feng as he cut off Li Shang's other leg. "Kill me then," said Li Shang, who couldn't bear the pain anymore. Chapter 885, Flame Emperor. Li Shang was begging Lin Feng to kill him. He was shaking violently from the pain. He had lived in a confined world for so many years. Now that he had finally found a way out, he loved that new world where he could have as much fun as he wanted, but in the end, a nightmare started so quickly. He never thought that he would die like this. He hated himself for his recklessness. Lin Feng condensed more energy in his sword while staring at Li Shang and said, "Don't you think that killing you would be too easy?" Lin Feng's voice sounded ice cold as his sword then streaked across the sky. "Ah!" Li Shang shouted painfully, his entire body was twitching. Lin Feng then cut off his penis. Lin Feng was merciless. That man was a cruel and dirty animal. Torturing wasn't even enough. Poof! At that moment, a dazzling light appeared between Li Shang's eyes and flew towards Lin Feng with incredible speed. Slash, the light immediately penetrated into Lin Feng's head and buzzing sounds started resonating. That light was attacking Lin Feng's awareness bell, making his entire body slightly shake. Lin Feng frowned and closed his eyes. He released his awareness, his bronze bell resonated and attacked that light. Lin Feng then realized that the light was a small person. It was tiny and its chi was completely evil. If Lin Feng didn't possess a powerful awareness, his soul would have been crushed by that light. Bzzz, bzzz, that small person continued attacking Lin Feng's awareness bells. Lin Feng released his broken souls into his awareness bells to strengthen them. They then attacked the small person, pushing them back. Slash, the small person could sense Lin Feng's awareness, so they immediately came out of Lin Feng's head and ran off into the distance. At that moment, Li Shang felt hopeless. He was dying. That small person wasn't Li Shang's awareness and he didn't know when he had fused together with that creature. Lin Feng glanced at Li Shang but decided he needed to follow the small person. Li Shang was already dying after all. That small person attacked and had failed, now it thought it could escape. Impossible. The tiny golden person was extremely fast. Coupled with his size, it was difficult to catch up. However, Lin Feng had already oppressed him with his awareness. Lin Feng used his Xiaoyao agility technique and flew in the sky gracefully. Lin Feng gradually got closer to the small person. He released his awareness bell which emitted buzzing sounds as it bombarded the small person. His tiny body was shaking. The bell kept resonating as it then fell from the sky and surrounded the tiny creature. Boom boom boom, the bell kept assaulting the tiny golden person who was resisting. Lin Feng raised his hands and small black flames appeared. Bzzz, the bell opened itself and flew back into Lin Feng's head. The tiny golden creature wanted to escape, but Lin Feng was faster than him. Lin Feng ran while condensing energies, soon a black hole appeared in his hands. "Where are you going?" asked Lin Feng while grabbing the tiny creature. He was now unable to escape. "So, initially you were the evil one. Now I really want to destroy you," Lin Feng said angrily. The tiny golden creature kept moving around, but it was useless. His tiny body was slowly becoming black. "Let me off," said a voice in Lin Feng's brain, surprising him. Lin Feng stared at the tiny golden creature and shouted furiously, "What the hell are you?" Lin Feng had never seen such a creature. His evil chi was extremely dense and he had possessed Li Shang's body. "I'm an evil spirit," said a voice in Lin Feng's brain. An evil spirit. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. Surprisingly, there were such things in the world. "Did you control Li Shang's body before? And if you had managed to attack my awareness, would you have been able to use my body as a host and control me?" asked Lin Feng. In the future, he would have to be careful when encountering such creatures. Without paying attention, it was probably easy for them to take control of a body. "I'm not strong enough yet. I cannot control cultivators of the Tian Qi layer, I can only influence them in the best case." "Okay, how do creatures like you come to life?" asked Lin Feng. The creature remained silent. "Humph." Lin Feng groaned and increased the pressure in his hand, making the evil spirit give a horrible shriek. I'll talk. Many years before, a terrifying emperor chased the flame emperor Yan Di and destroyed his soul. However, after his soul broke, he didn't die. The emperor put them in a painting and sealed it, preventing some of the people inside from becoming too strong. The flame emperor Yan Di was also sealed inside. He then raised us using his consciousness. So that's what we are, evil spirits. Lin Feng was thinking about all of this and shivering. What a terrifying emperor. After fighting, he could seal people inside a painting. On top of that, the flame emperor Yan Di's soul was broken into many pieces, so the emperor had been worried about recovering his soul, so he turned it into so many small evil spirits. Why was it impossible to break the flame emperor Yan Di's soul though? Lin Feng couldn't understand such things yet. In other words, there are other creatures like you? Lin Feng was a bit worried. If any other creatures like this came out, then Shuai would plunge into chaos. No, the Flame Emperor Yan Di's soul was broken into pieces. Pieces which can turn into broken souls are very rare. Those which can turn into evil spirits are even rarer. There can't be too many like me. I don't know how many there are of us, but there can't be too many. I also don't know how many have come to this world. Lin Feng felt a bit reassured. To a small country like Shuai, it could have been catastrophic. You don't know anything, keeping you is useless, said Lin Feng as he readied to destroy the evil spirit. Wait, said the evil spirit hastily, obviously fearing death. I will tell you an incredible secret, but only if you don't destroy me. What secret? Lin Feng was curious. Back then, maybe the Flame Emperor Yan Di hadn't died, maybe he still had a little bit of vitality and is still in this world, said the evil spirit. You can't kill me, because if we encounter the Flame Emperor Yan Di, only I will be able to tell you who he is. Without me, you wouldn't be able to recognize him. Besides, if you want to control people in the future, I can help you, said the evil spirit to Lin Feng, trying to convince him. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.